Chapter 47. I'll go first. After saying goodbye to the two girls, Toru Watanabe walked toward the club building. Halfway through, he threw the box of strawberry milk into the trash can from 3 meters away. The female disciplinary committee member who happened to see him scolded him. The disciplinary committee member who looked as serious as Abyss Miju seemed to have a lot of opinions about him. Toru Watanabe guessed that it was probably because of the promiscuous bet from the Human Observation Department. After 2 days of rain, the sky was clear again. The heat from the previous few days was washed away, and the temperature was just right. Even the trees on the street between Shoku Station and Kanagawa High School became green and full of vitality. Toru Watanabe suddenly wanted to see the sky, so he went from the 5th-floor corridor to the club building. The vast sky above the school building was like the sky in the travel magazine he read in the bookstore yesterday. The only difference was that there was a white airplane cloud that divided it into two. Toru Watanabe looked at the airplane cloud as he walked through the corridor. He felt as if he had become one of the white clouds. Even so, it was just a metaphor. After all, Toru Watanabe didn't even understand the composition of the white clouds, let alone the state of mind of the white clouds. So he began to guess the beginning and end of the airplane cloud. Maybe it's from Hokkaido to Shanghai? Maybe the starting point is Okinawa and the destination is Hawaii? Moscow is also fine. Speaking of Moscow, Toru Watanabe thought of Russia. Thinking of Russia, he thought of the Battle of the Four Northern Islands. The voice of the history teacher seemed to ring in his mind. When did the Soviet Union occupy the Four Northern Islands? Occupied on September 3, 1945. In January 1947, it was officially incorporated into the territory of the Soviet Union. Perfect. What are the specific names of the Four Northern Islands? Empress, Tooth Dance, Sex Pill. That's it. There was one more name that he couldn't remember. After all, encyclopedic knowledge wasn't photographic memory. The voice was very familiar, and it made Toru Watanabe come back to his senses and look at the group of girls in the middle of the corridor. They sat on the iconic steel pole chairs in the club building, with lunchboxes in their hands and various musical instruments on the side. Toru Watanabe was ignorant, referring to his knowledge of musical instruments. He only knew the cello and the basso horn. He couldn't remember the name of the musical instrument that looked like a flute but wasn't a flute. Asako Hanada, who was as petite as a primary school student, was also one of them. Asako Hanada was shocked. She thought that Toru Watanabe was looking for her. She stood up with her lunchbox in hand. Toru Watanabe felt like he had barged into someone else's living room. He wanted to pretend that he didn't see anything, but Asako Hanada stared at him blankly, so he could only greet her. He smiled and waved. Senior Hua-tian, good afternoon. None of those people paid any attention to him. They were all dumbfounded. Asako Hanada blushed and buried her face in the big bow on her collar, looking very lovable. I've been thinking too much about history questions. I actually forgot not to smile casually. Toru Watanabe quickly hid his expression and walked away quickly. The miraculous, delightful, and captivating smile was short-lived in this suspended corridor. When he arrived at the activity classroom of the Human Observation Department, Rin Kiyono, who had nothing but beauty and wisdom, was sitting by the window and reading a book. Toru Watanabe took 3 colorful donuts and asked before he left. Kiyono, let me test you. Do you know the specific names of the 4 islands in the Battle of the Four Northern Islands? Queen of the Nation, Tooth Dance, Sex Pill, and Atari, Rin Kiyono replied while she continued to look at the book in her hand. I admit that you were stronger a second ago, but I'm the same now. Toru Watanabe glanced at Rin Kiyono with a triumphant look. He memorized the words, Atari, in his heart. Rin Kiyono noticed Toru Watanabe's unfriendly look and raised her head. She tucked her long hair behind her ear and smiled like a saintess. Watanabe, is there anything else you don't understand? I'm just testing you. Who said I don't understand? Liar. Remember to close the door when you go out. Toru Watanabe felt that this woman's smile and tone were a little arrogant. As expected, Rin Kiyono was useless except for her beauty and wisdom. Toru Watanabe was not someone with such a bad personality. When he returned to the teaching building, Toru Watanabe deliberately avoided the 5th floor and went directly to the 3rd floor. In the classroom of Year 1 Class 2, Miki Kujo was surrounded by a few girls who were chatting with her. It was not appropriate to say that they were chatting. It was more like the other girls were carefully contributing topics. Whenever Miki Kujo was interested in one of the topics, they would start chatting. "Aren't you tired of living? If it weren't for the threat, I wouldn't associate with such a rich girl." Toru Watanabe could not understand the pursuit of these people who surrounded Miki Kujo. His arrival attracted the attention of the students in Class 2. After all, he was a famous person. Not to mention the bet between his grades and the midterm exam, Toru Watanabe himself was a handsome teenager who almost all the girls wanted to marry him. As for why I said, almost, you should know, so I won't explain. After the running in the rain and being ridiculed by Rin Kiyono incident, Toru Watanabe gradually became indifferent to other people's gazes, at least on the surface. He calmly walked to Miki Kujo's table. One of the girls who surrounded her made way for him, and he thanked her. "Miki, I brought you something to eat." "Donuts." There was a lot of chatter around them. "Miki? He's called Kujo classmate by her name. Are they dating?" "Definitely. Didn't you see that Watanabe classmate brought food over?" Why? "I think Kiyono classmate is better. Both of them look very literary, and they look very compatible when they stand together." "You're right, but what if Watanabe classmate likes the rich girl?" "I guess he likes money." "Sorry, you all guessed wrong. I'm not dating Miki Kujo, I'm not compatible with the literary girl Rin Kiyono, and I don't like money." Miki Kujo didn't take the exquisite box of donuts. She glanced at the person who said, "Kiyono classmate is better," and smiled. Toru Watanabe's heart trembled. This woman wouldn't kill someone in school, right? Miki Kujo smiled casually and said, "I don't want to eat this, go get me another one." Another one? So she was venting her anger on him. "Do you want me to say it again?" Toru Watanabe silently chanted, "Gentle, considerate, loyal, and revenge is never too late," in his heart, hypnotizing himself. He smiled gently and said, "It's my fault, Miki. I should have guessed that you don't want to eat donuts. To apologize, what do you want to eat? I'll go get it for you. Souffle? Shaha cake? Fruit? Or something else?" The other girls were like a spring breeze in this voice and smile, only Miki Kujo didn't care. Her expression was arrogant, and the smile on her face seemed to say, "I'll see what you want." Miki Kujo didn't say anything, and the atmosphere became awkward. "Miki, you look good when you're angry." "What's good about me?" Toru Watanabe was sure that Miki Kujo, who was smiling at this time, was not interested in this topic. If his answer didn't satisfy her, she would definitely use this as an excuse to punish him. Strip naked, do radio gymnastics, and so on. It's obviously the school uniform, but it looks different from other students, whether it's the black stockings wrapped around the legs, or the white cotton socks, or the indoor shoes that just fit the feet. Where are your eyes looking? Your legs. Miki Kujo aimed at Toru Watanabe's crotch, and unceremoniously kicked it. The kickboxing master Toru Watanabe easily caught it, and his fingers touched the silky stockings within his range of movement. "Miki, let's do this in private, here." Toru Watanabe looked around at the Class 2 students who were dumbfounded. "Isn't it inappropriate?" "Watanabe," Miki Kujo pointed at her right leg that was being molested, "take off the indoor shoes that just fit the feet, and the black stockings that wrapped around the legs." Then, her smile suddenly became cold, and her eyes were extremely terrifying. "Lick it." This woman. Toru Watanabe wanted to break her leg and throw her out of the 3rd floor window like a strawberry milk carton. "I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. This guy named Watanabe can go to hell." Kujo's legs. However, the voices of the surrounding male students were a little strange. At this time, the correct background noise was to condemn Miki Kujo for going overboard. You guys are hopeless. Toru Watanabe felt like he was the only normal male student in Kanagawa High School. Toru Watanabe put down Miki Kujo's legs and helped her tidy up her slightly messy stockings. During the process, Miki Kujo allowed him to get close to her. Miki's legs belong to me alone, you're not allowed to show them to anyone else. Miki Kujo was stunned, and narrowed her eyes. Are you ordering me? I'm just jealous. Jealous? Yes, Miki's legs can't be seen by other men. Miki Kujo smiled. Okay, I'll only show them to you. Tonight, I'll go to your place. At this moment, Toru Watanabe's heart was as heavy as the surrounding male students' jealousy. Miki, you see, tomorrow is the midterm exam, it's most important to take care of your body. Miki Kujo happily said her favorite word to Toru Watanabe. No. Male student A suggested, let's go kill him. Male student B agreed, no matter what, we can't let that shameless Watanabe leave school alive today. Friend, I won't argue with you for calling me shameless, but if you can do it, please come as soon as possible, I don't want to leave school either. When the atmosphere was very strange and anxious, a reprimand sounded like rain falling from the sky. Toru Watanabe, it's you again. Abbess Miju's Morals and Discipline Committee member walked into Class 2's classroom. I'm sorry, I'm guilty. I didn't restrain my desire for Miki's legs and did such a thing in front of everyone. The Morals and Discipline Committee member was stunned. This kind of thing? What did you do? What a boy wants to do to a girl's legs. You actually... The Morals and Discipline Committee member looked at Miki Kujo's legs, then looked around, sniffing the air with her little nose. What are you doing? I just touched it. Faced with Toru Watanabe's incredulous and perverted gaze, the female Morals and Discipline Committee member's delicate face was colored with anger and embarrassment. You... Toru Watanabe. Come with me. Touching my own girlfriend is wrong? Miki, help me say a few words. Toru Watanabe wanted nothing more than to be taken away immediately, not to mention the Morals and Discipline Committee member, even the police would do. I don't know this guy. Please punish him properly. Toru Watanabe turned around in surprise, just in time to see Miki Kujo's mischievous smile. Miki Kujo was truly a difficult woman to guess. He was willing to believe that he had already understood her personality, and that she wouldn't let him go so easily. Could it be that she wanted him to be punished? Then, in addition to using his parents, she also wanted to threaten him with his school status. In a rural school with a total of 5 teachers and students, how much effort had he put in to get into Tokyo's prestigious private high school through self-study? He definitely couldn't let her get what she wanted. Morals and Discipline Committee member, listen to my explanation. Just now it was Kujo classmate who kicked me. Shut up. Come with me to the principal's office. Principal's office? That can't be right. This is my first offense. On the side, Miki Kujo revealed a happy smile, and even picked up the donut that she said she didn't want to eat. Chapter 48. Toru Watanabe explained for a long time, but in the end, he still walked into the principal's office with the discipline committee member. The principal looked at them with his hands behind his back, listening to the two's confessions that were too different. The discipline committee member said, Principal, Toru Watanabe seriously violated the school's discipline, please deal with him seriously. The principal looked at Toru Watanabe. He had an impression of this handsome young man, who came to Tokyo through self-study from a school that was about to be abandoned. His life experience was very inspirational, and he was someone he wanted to focus on promoting. But this student was too frivolous. A while ago, he harassed a young female teacher in the teacher's office, and now he went to another class to flirt with a female student, and he was the daughter of the Kujo family. But he was indeed a good student, after all, he was 3rd in the grade. Watanabe classmate, he said slowly. Yes. You have to properly apologize to Kujo classmate for this matter, and you have to obtain her forgiveness. Yes. Just this once, do your best in the exam. Just this once. The discipline committee member didn't dare to believe it. Principal, Are we just going to let it go like this? Haizawa classmate, Watanabe classmate only committed a mistake that all adolescent boys would commit, and it's his first offense. Everyone is not a saint, how can there be no mistakes? You should have learned this ancient China saying. We'll give him a chance, the principal said earnestly. A mistake that all adolescent boys would commit? First offense? Principal, this isn't a reason to get off the hook. Get off the hook? Was he a criminal? Toru Watanabe speechlessly looked at the discipline committee member who didn't give the principal any face. The principal thought for a bit, then as the discipline committee member, how do you want to deal with this? Suspend him. The principal looked at Toru Watanabe. Watanabe classmate, I remember that you're very bad at sports, right? Yes, I've always been mocked in PE class, Toru Watanabe replied. The principal nodded in satisfaction. As far as I know, Miki Kujo classmate's physical strength isn't bad. She also has students supporting her. If she didn't want to, or if Watanabe really had bad intentions, I think Watanabe would have been stopped before he could do anything. As expected of the principal, Toru Watanabe looked admiringly at the principal who was trying to clear his name with a straight face. Although his deduction was wrong, if he wasn't a kickboxing master, he would probably be on his way to the infirmary to have his lower body checked. The conduct and discipline committee member was probably shocked by the principal's logic, or perhaps he knew that he couldn't go against the principal's orders, so he was momentarily speechless. All right, it's almost time for class. You can go back now. The two of them bowed and left the principal's office. Before they parted ways, the disciplinary committee member glared at Toru Watanabe. From this gaze, Toru Watanabe had a premonition that his school life in the next 3 years would not be smooth sailing. But as long as he could maintain his current grades, or even go one step further and become number one in the school, the principal would always be his strong backing. The only one he had to worry about was Miki Kujo, who had better grades and more power. This year 1 to 2 leg touching incident, after the Kiyono and Watanabe going to school together incident, became the new topic of discussion in Kanagawa High School. When Toru Watanabe returned to Class 4, he was surrounded by Osamu Kanai, Keisuke Saito, and other male students in the southeast corner of the classroom where the cleaning tools were kept. Charge. Speak. How's Kujo classmate's leg? They wanted to kill him one by one. Hey, that's not necessary. A girl stepped on you and even asked you to take off her socks. How do you feel? Toru Watanabe leaned against the door of the metal cabinet. It's an honor to be stepped on. The girls of Class 4 looked at the group of boys with cold disdain. You guys, are you kidding me? Toru Watanabe said in disbelief. Shameless Watanabe, go to hell. Hey, speak properly, don't hit me. Keisuke Saito said in an envious tone, as a man, you must be happy to be stepped on by a beauty. That's right. This is even a reward. Osamu Kanai was like the President of the United States who swore an oath to the Bible. It's strange for someone to be angry. Ha! In the end, I'm the strange one? Of course. Everyone's uniform answer made Toru Watanabe fall into self-doubt. But he was smart and never slacked off. While seriously completing his study tasks, he also taught himself Spanish. In addition, he was very gentle, and then, he was still very gentle, and finally, he was still very gentle. That was enough. There was no need to prove it. Conclusion. How could he, Toru Watanabe, be wrong? Impossible, it was only this world that was wrong. You guys lose yourself when you see a girl with a good figure and a pretty face. You can't be so superficial. Toru Watanabe's words won the favor of all the girls in class. Watanabe. Osamu Kanai pointed at Toru Watanabe and shouted in his loud voice. You were just discussing with me and Saito how to peek at a girl's neckline, and now you're pretending, shameless. Hey. Keisuke Saito quickly pulled him back. You can talk about yourself, why do you have to bring me along? Osamu Kanai, who came to his senses, turned around and looked. The boys who were his comrades just now secretly left like actors in a movie, and the girls looked at the three of them as if they were trash. Toru Watanabe patted their shoulders and said, "I don't care anyway, Mickey is waiting for me, and the two of you probably have no chance in high school." "No, it can't be." Osamu Kunai's plan to pursue girls of the same grade was not put into practice, and the waves of Tokyo Bay hit the shore. Keisuke Saito said word by word, "Koi, I'm going to kill you. Don't strangle my neck. Cough cough, help." Looking at the two people in despair, Toru Watanabe once again found joy in life, and successfully maintained the healthy mentality of a high school student. But there was one thing that made him feel very regretful. The number of girls who wanted to marry him was probably a lot less, and he could no longer use the word almost all, but the majority was more accurate. After immediately correcting his evaluation of himself, Toru Watanabe was proud of himself for being able to accept failure, so he did not care about the missing girls. Originally, even if they wanted to marry him, he would not agree. After all, he had already decided to be a Tokyo handsome guy. You have a new email. Temporary event. On May 28, 12:36 p.m. The girls from the wind department that you encountered in the corridor seem to be very interested in you. Event content. Successfully date two of them at the same time, and methods other than dating are prohibited. Event duration. Before the end of the first year of high school. Event reward. Master level shooting, 10,000 points. Special reward. Date both Masahi and Asako Hanada at the same time. Master level shooting is free. Transcendence level stamina recovery is free. According to the terms of the supplementary rules, based on the spirit of basic human rights, special reminder to players. This event has a huge risk to your life. Please participate with caution. What's wrong with being single-minded? This world is not normal. Having said that, Toru Watanabe had the mentality that it did not matter. He clicked on Master Level Shooting and Transcendence Level Stamina Recovery. Master Level Shooting. Proficient with pistols and rifles, whether it is a moving target or a flying saucer, 100% accuracy within 50 meters. Transcendence Level Stamina Recovery. The stamina recovery ability that exceeds human limits. Side effects. If you do not take in enough inorganic salt, water, and high protein, high vitamin food in time, sudden heart failure, sudden liver failure, sudden nerve loss, sudden numbness of hands and feet, sudden dizziness, sudden retching, sudden deafness, sudden myocardial infarction. The rest of the content has been collapsed. Click to expand. Aren't there too many side effects? But Master Level Shooting, Transcendence Level Stamina Recovery, and the special reward from the last event, Transcendence Level Healing, combined with these three, isn't it a way to kill the Kujo family alone? Wait, don't get too excited, calm down and think. Organize the thoughts, analyze the method, consider the consequences, and calculate the probability of success. During the afternoon self-study, Toru Watanabe, who never slacked off, did not study. In order not to be stepped under the feet of the beautiful girls, and not to take off the beautiful girls' stockings, he took out his notebook and kept combing through the information. Chapter 49. Goal: date two groups at the same time. Current situation: 1. The news that he is pursuing Miki Kujo has spread throughout the school. 2. Miki Kujo will never allow him to fall in love with other women. 3. He knows nothing about Masahi and Asako Hanada. 4. Yoshimi Tamamo can be bribed. 5. Remaining time for the first group, 6 days. Method: 1. Only pursue Miki Kujo on the surface. Method: none, learn from Rin Kiyono. Budget: everything except parents' lives. 2. After dating Miki Kujo, immediately get back together with Yoshimi Tamamo, then break up immediately. Ask the other party to keep it a secret. Method: money, budget, all assets. 3. Masahi and Asako Hanada method: do not disturb, do not wake up my beloved, wait for them to be willing. Copied from the Old Testament. Budget: all charm. 4. Before ensuring safety, focus on increasing favorability, never reveal the intention of pursuing others. Toru Watanabe looked at the notes filled with content, especially the one from the Old Testament. He had come across it a long time ago, and then remembered it just now. When he was writing notes or writing an article, he suddenly thought of a famous sentence that suited the occasion. It was simply too satisfying. No. Watanabe, now is not the time to be proud of your ability to organize your notes, your excellent memory, and your wealth of knowledge. Wake up. Toru Watanabe put away his satisfied expression and fell into deep thought. In order to obtain these 3 skills, he had to date 2 groups of girls at the same time, and after getting back together with Miki Kujo, if she didn't want to break up, he couldn't take the initiative to break up. Therefore, in the end, he had to pursue the other 2 girls while having Miki Kujo as his girlfriend on the surface. This. Not to mention Miki Kujo, who had no regard for human life. Even if she was an ordinary girl, it would be very difficult for Toru Watanabe to pursue other girls without his current girlfriend knowing. The key point was that these 3 girls were from the same school, not to mention that 2 of them were members of the music club who trained together every day. This was a difficult task for Casanova. As a dedicated warrior, Toru Watanabe did not possess such talents. Also, the seemingly simple Yoshimi Tamamo, which seemed to be able to fool everyone with money, was definitely not that simple with the game's hints. It wasn't that easy to obtain a free transcendental skill. Should he just forget about it? Grow slowly, and sooner or later there would be a day of revenge. No. The 4th rule of Tokyo Handsome Men was to have the confidence to accomplish anything. Then I have to take down Miki Kujo within a week. Otherwise, everything will be for naught. Toru Watanabe had made up his mind to pursue her at all costs. I have made up my mind, but what should I do? He was at a loss. Therefore, Toru Watanabe decided to be direct and directly ask Miki Kujo herself after school. But when he arrived at the activity room, he did not see her. Only Rin Kiyono was standing in front of the window. Hearing the sound of the door being opened, she turned around and looked at Toru Watanabe, her skirt and hair swaying in the cool summer wind. There seemed to be a trace of loneliness in her expression. Looking at her, Toru Watanabe heard the silly laughter of the boys during lunch break, and the cheerful chatter of the girls. Whenever he thought about how Seigo Rin had been reading alone in the activity classroom when those voices were heard, he felt an inexplicable sense of discomfort in his chest. When he came back to his senses, Rin Kiyono had already returned to her usual self. Did you do something shameful, Watanabe-san? She crossed her arms in front of her chest and teased him. Yes, I did do something incredible, Toru Watanabe said as he walked to her side and looked out the window. He thought he would see something lively, but all he saw was the bleak campus scenery before an exam, and the tram slowly speeding away from Sia Station. As expected of a literary girl, seeing such a scene would make her feel sad. Of course not. Toru Watanabe believed that she felt lonely because he was the only person in the world who did not know how to lie, and sometimes even tired. It varies from person to person, but you have a thick skin. Thank you. Toru Watanabe nodded. What do you plan to do now? What do you mean? As expected of the shameless Watanabe, you don't even care about the rumors that spread among the girls that you always stand by the window to peek at the necklines of the girls. Where did the rumors come from? Toru Watanabe almost asked. But he was smart, and he never slacked off, so he would never fall for the same trick twice. If he asked, wouldn't it mean that he cared about other people's opinions? Only Rin Kiyono, because he really couldn't win, so he didn't easily admit defeat. Toru Watanabe said casually, "This kind of thing isn't worth wasting the sugar I got from drinking strawberry cow brain." Strawberry milk? Yes, I want to drink strawberry milk. Toru Watanabe-san, please. I just came up. Don't the Tokyo handsome guy need to keep his promise? Indeed, you don't need to. Toru Watanabe sighed and put down his bag. I'll go buy it for you. Thank you. Rin Kiyono smiled, picked up the hardcover book on the table, and started reading from the bookmark. Until the end of school, Miki Kujo didn't appear in the activity classroom. He thought that he wouldn't see her today, but who knew that he saw her limousine at the school gate. The door was closed, but Toru Watanabe knew immediately that she was waiting for him. She's not really going to the rental house to play with my feet, is she? No, she's probably playing with me. Toru Watanabe thought, but he still opened the door and sat in. The car was very quiet. Miki Kujo was sleeping with her hand on the center armrest as usual, and Shizuru in the corner looked at him with a strange look. Oh no, even the female robot is looking at me like that. What kind of humiliating punishment will he give me later? Toru Watanabe began to consider whether to sacrifice himself, when the door suddenly opened, and Rin Kiyono looked at him in surprise. Why are you here? Ah! Toru Watanabe was stunned, then immediately reacted. She wasn't waiting for him. Haha, it's a misunderstanding, I'll go home first. He laughed and prepared to get out of the car. A slender and beautiful leg in stockings suddenly appeared between him and the car door. Miki Kujo, with her elbow on the armrest and her fist on the side of her face, had woken up at some point. She said with a smile, "No." Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono for help. Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly. Are you sure you want me to help you? Toru Watanabe glanced at Miki Kujo, who was already sneering. No, I can't wait to spend more time with Miki. Toru Watanabe sat a little closer to Shizuru to make room for Rin Kiyono, but Miki Kujo ordered him to sit on the far left, and ordered Shizuru to sit in the middle. After Rin Kiyono got in the car drove away from Kanagawa High School without making any sound. Miki Kujo was no longer leaning on the armrest, but on the left side of the car, without saying a word. She smiled and looked at the anxious Toru Watanabe. So, where are we going? Toru Watanabe broke the silence in the car. My home. Isn't it too early to meet your parents? No, it's just right. Miki Kujo replied with a smile. Idiot, super idiot, Toru Watanabe, how can there be such a stupid person in the world? Why are you getting in the car? You pighead with excessive self-awareness. Toru Watanabe felt that he was a calmer high school student than anyone else. When he was stabbed 6 times, he still wanted to earn points for Miki Kujo, but now he had to admit, on May 28th, he did make all kinds of mistakes. Chapter 50. Toru Watanabe saw the Kokyo flashing by the window. It seemed that the destination was Chiyoda District. The Kokyo was a landmark building in Chiyoda District. Tourists only needed to make an appointment and did not need an entrance ticket. Toru Watanabe, who had just arrived in Tokyo and had no money, had visited it once. After passing the Kokyo, the car made several turns and entered a large courtyard villa. In the center of politics, economy and culture, in a very special area, Toru Watanabe felt that he had to conquer 10,000 Yoshimi Tamamo to build such a courtyard villa. Of course, there were situations where he only needed to conquer one, and that was Miki Kujo herself. The courtyard was filled with green pines and cypresses that the Japanese liked. There were also all kinds of unidentifiable flowers. There were also bodyguards in black. It was just like in the movies. Seeing the bodyguards, Toru Watanabe remembered the incident with the imperial tea. Miki Kujo might not be living a comfortable life. After the car stopped, the 4 of them got off. The bodyguards did not exaggeratedly line up in 2 rows, but they also bowed at their respective positions. Walking into the villa, Toru Watanabe actually saw a maid. It was not the kind that Akihabara preferred, but the traditional black and white one. The maid was wrapped tightly from head to toe. In his previous life, Toru Watanabe, who was born in a socialist country, had never seen such a scene. For a moment, his eyes could not help but glance at the maid. It's decided. After getting first place in the school, the first thing that the 2 of them wear is a maid's outfit. Just as he was letting his imagination run wild, a maid leaned over and said, "Sir, please follow me." Oh, okay. Toru Watanabe guessed that she was going to do a body check. It was like that in the movies. No need, let him in. Miki Kujo, who was walking in front, said. Toru Watanabe found that the maid in front of him, no, not only her, but also Shizuru and the other maids, all showed a very obvious look of surprise. Toru Watanabe smiled gently at the maid. I'm sorry, but I'm someone she trusts absolutely. Kujio Miki snorted, but there was a hint of disdain in her voice, as well as disdain towards Watanabe Tetsuji's low-level joke. The maid already had a silly look on her face. It was unknown whether she was fascinated by Toru Watanabe's smile, or shocked by the relationship between Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo, or both. After entering the villa, another maid led Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono to the living room. "Kiyo-san, what's the matter?" Toru Watanabe didn't believe that he really wanted to see his parents. "Keep watching and you will know," Rin Kiyono replied in low spirits, then turned to look at Toru Watanabe. "What is your relationship with Miki Kujo?" Without waiting for Toru Watanabe to speak, she turned back. "Forget it, I am not interested in these things." "If you are not interested, then why do you ask?" Rin Kiyono put her hand on her chin and pretended to ponder mischievously. "It seems that in the future in front of Miki Kujo, I will need to maintain a closer relationship with you. Sorry, I have a problem with my attitude." The two talked as they walked into the living room. Toru Watanabe felt as if he had walked into an independent space, showing the height and width of the living room. Needless to say, the decorations inside were not cheap. Among them, a huge portrait was the most eye-catching. The person in the portrait had a dignified appearance, wearing a gorgeous and noble kimono, and holding a folding fan. Toru Watanabe had seen this person in a book before. She was the Empress of Emperor Taisho, the mother of Emperor Showa, and the Empress of Kujo. Will this matter really end here after I get rid of the Kujo family? Toru Watanabe looked at the portrait. Rin Kiyono and Toru Watanabe sat across from each other at a long table, and a maid served tea and exquisite snacks. Toru Watanabe had been exercising a lot recently, so he was hungry. He ate without any reservations, and when his mouth was dry, he drank tea. Perhaps it was because of his bold actions, but he kept feeling that the maid standing quietly to the side was secretly watching him. But it could also be because he was very handsome. He was indeed very handsome. After eating 3 biscuits and a piece of cake, Toru Watanabe was feeling a little sick of it, when another person entered the living room. It was a woman in her 30s, wearing exquisite makeup, and looking very capable. Thanks to his recent observation of Miki Kujo's expression, Toru Watanabe noticed that the woman's eyes were tinged with a layer of surprise when she saw him in his school uniform. Were these upper-class people or people who served upper-class people all ignorant of the world? Although he was very handsome, that was the only thing that was indisputable. "Little Rin." The woman addressed Rin Kiyono as she sat next to him. "Yes." Rin Kiyono nodded emotionlessly. Toru Watanabe looked back and forth between the two of them, but he wasn't interested in asking what they didn't want to say. He said to the maid on the side, "Please bring something salty over." The maid didn't say a word, bowed slightly, and left quietly. The woman in her 30s was surprised again. She smiled at Toru Watanabe and said, "I'm Riko Kiyono, a special director of the Kiyono Group, and you are?" "Me. I'm an ordinary high school student from Kanagawa High School, destined to be great." Toru Watanabe. Destined to be great is superfluous. Miki Kujo, who had changed into casual clothes, slowly walked into the living room. Shizuka was still following behind her like a shadow. "Miki, do you think that I'm great now? I'm so touched." As soon as Toru Watanabe's voice fell, Rin Kiyono, who was sitting opposite him, unceremoniously smiled. When the two words Miki came out of Toru Watanabe's mouth, the maid not far away, and Riko Kiyono in front of him, showed a very obvious shock. Miki Kujo herself didn't pay any attention to him, and directly sat on the main seat. That simple yet exquisitely made white dress accentuated her excellent figure. Her upper body was full, her waist was just right, and her legs had the wonderful curves that all women dreamed of. Her beauty was to the extent that even women would be tempted. "Let's begin," she ordered. Riko Kiyono nodded, took out a lot of documents from his briefcase, and then followed by various unfamiliar words that Toru Watanabe didn't understand. And every time Miki Kujo said a word, Riko Kiyono would look at Rin Kiyono, and when Rin Kiyono nodded, he would continue with a sense of peace. "Very good, I, Toru Watanabe, am willing to call you lie detector machine." Toru Watanabe felt that he still had a lot of things to learn, and ridiculed in boredom. Fortunately, The maid who brought Toru Watanabe some savory snacks came back, so he didn't have nothing to do. But when he was eating, he was scolded by Miki Kujo. "Be quiet. This snack is very fragile, I can't help it." Then there was Miki Kujo's murderous look. Toru Watanabe could only surrender, give up eating the snacks, and continue to listen to the two talk about things that he didn't understand at all. This world was too far away from him, and he was still learning Spanish, although self-learning Spanish was also a great thing. After 2 whole hours, the meeting finally ended. "You stay here," Miki Kujo said to Toru Watanabe, and then left the living room alone. Toru Watanabe made the most malicious guess that she must have gone to the toilet. She must have held it in for a while. On the other side, Rin Kiyono and Riko Kiyono left the villa and the spacious courtyard. That boy called Toru Watanabe, what's his relationship with the Kujo family's eldest daughter? Riko Kiyono asked. Who knows? Since Miki Kujo moved in, no man has entered. Riko Kiyono looked back at the villa, and then looked at Rin Kiyono. Little Rin, can you ask about the relationship between the two? That's not my duty, goodbye. Rin Kiyono finished and turned to leave. Little Rin, I'll walk you out. No need. After a short wait, Toru Watanabe finally saw Miki Kujo again, who had changed her clothes. The two of them ate dinner. Do you only eat at this time every day? He cut a piece of beef with a knife and fork and stuffed it into his mouth. Although he didn't know what kind of beef it was, the melting point of the fat was very low, and it could be melted immediately by the temperature in his mouth. Toru Watanabe felt the fat exploding in his mouth, and it was so delicious that for a few seconds, he felt that it wasn't a completely stupid thing to get into the car today. It depends on when things are done. Compared to Toru Watanabe's enjoyment, Miki Kujo seemed to be uninterested, and she ate for the sake of eating. Thinking about how she was always sleeping, it seemed that she didn't have an easy time. But this had nothing to do with Toru Watanabe, and he didn't have any sympathy. He took a sip of juice. Actually, I have something to ask you today. Toru Watanabe didn't make a sound and cleared his throat. What do I have to do for you to be willing to get back together with me? The living room was very quiet, but after this sentence, it was like a silent morning hall. You like me? Miki Kujo asked with a smile. Of course, you're beautiful, your legs are beautiful, and your family is rich. To be honest, my original goal was to become a civil servant, and then let the taxpayers support me for the rest of my life, and live a leisurely life. You can do it now. I'm the eldest son of the Watanabe family, and I must get married and have children, but Miki, you won't allow me to be with other women, right? Miki Kujo put down the knife and fork in her hand, and rested her hands under her beautiful chin. She looked at Toru Watanabe. Of course, you can forget about it for the rest of your life. You see, since that's the case, I can only choose to be with you. That won't do. Miki Kujo kept a smile on her face. Even if you're with me, you'll have to marry into my family and change your surname to Kujo. Toru Watanabe, who just said that the eldest son must carry on the family line, said seriously, surnames are feudal. It's not desirable, and it doesn't matter at all. Miki Kujo smiled and didn't comment. Is that so? Also, we can be like Emperor Taisho and Empress Kujo and have 4 children, and I'll be satisfied if one of them has the surname Watanabe. Aha, Miki Kujo made a nasal sound, as if she was interested. Also, I'm not only good-looking, but I can protect you at any time. Most importantly, I'm also very smart, and I never slack off. Even if I can't help you with your work, at least I won't drag you down. Aha. Miki Kujo nodded. Continue. That. Toru Watanabe racked his brain, and finally thought of something. Miki, think about it. If you find someone of equal social status, the other party will inevitably covet the Kujo family's power and wealth, but I won't. I'm from the countryside, and I have no background, so no one will support me. Didn't you say that you're smart and never slack off? What if you take the opportunity to seize power while I'm giving birth to 4 children for you? Miki Kujo said with a smile. Toru Watanabe puffed out his chest. I'm quite confident in my determination to live a life of idleness. Studying is for the sake of enriching myself, not for the sake of obtaining anything from it. Miki Kujo rested her head on her hands as she listened to him finish speaking. Her 4 fingers strummed her delicate face as if she were playing a piano. Okay, I'll give you a chance. Really? A few days ago, I read a light novel. In it, the male lead confessed to the entire school during an exam so that the female lead wouldn't disappear. Since there's an exam tomorrow, if you do this, I'll consider it. The young pighead boy won't dream of bunny girl senpai. There was no mistaking it. It was this light novel. If Toru Watanabe recalled correctly, Miki Kujo wasn't interested in light novels or manga at all. She had only casually flipped through the manga and novels in the club's classroom. Thus, this chapter was definitely something that she had casually flipped through. But at this moment, the image that popped up in Toru Watanabe's mind wasn't the pighead boy who was excited about Bunny Girl Senpai, but Chi Tong-wei, who had triumphed over the heavens and committed suicide by swallowing a gun. In Han University's sports field, in front of all the teachers and students, he had knelt down and proposed to Liang Lu, who was 10 years older than him, in exchange for a meteoric rise in his political career. And now, he, Toru Watanabe, was going to use the same method in exchange for the power to take revenge. However, after confessing in front of all the teachers and students, he wouldn't be expelled from school. But, how was he going to woo the other 3 girls in the same school? This was a rather thorny problem. Are you afraid of this little bit of hardship? What's the big deal? Watanabe, you've been working hard all this time. You're a person who can accomplish great things. Even if you encounter more difficulties in the future, you can't be restrained because of this. You need to have the confidence to accomplish anything. You need to believe that you're destined to be great. Okay. Toru Watanabe agreed. On this day, Toru Watanabe returned to his rented apartment safely. There was another pair of used stockings in the closet. Considering that Miki Kujo might have a new pair of socks every day, he had reason to believe that she was treating him like a trash can. The next day, May 29th, was the first day of the midterm exam. The contents of the 3-school joint examination included the entire college entrance examination, but the 3 grades still had differences in difficulty. Because the first year of high school didn't have a liberal arts and science division, the examinees were allowed to choose by themselves. Before the second year of high school, they could change at will. In addition to the content, the exam arrangements were strictly in accordance with the college entrance examination system. The third year of high school borrowed the University Examination Hall, which was the real college entrance examination hall. A few of them, when the college entrance examination was held in mid-January next year, their examination hall might be the same as the university they went to today, the same classroom, and even the same seats. Just as the Great Gatsby said, not everyone had the same advantage. Those who were still learning about the first year of high school, and those who didn't have midterm exams, should be enjoying their happy high school life now. But in the examination hall that determined their future, they were facing students with the educational conditions of Kanagawa High School, leaving them with only direct employment, short-term college, and expensive third-rate private schools. The 9 imperial universities were an unreachable dream for them. On the way to school, students holding textbooks and sharpening their guns at the last minute could be seen everywhere. During the morning class meeting, Aona Koizumi repeatedly reminded everyone of the exam discipline and then cheered everyone on. After the class meeting, she called Toru Watanabe over alone. Are you confident? I'm definitely going to get first place. Aona Koizumi smiled and said, do you want Kiyono classmate to be your girlfriend or Kujo classmate? I want both. Toru Watanabe said confidently, but he was only 40% confident in his heart. With Rin Kiyono and Miki Kujo's personalities and IQ, how could they lose so easily? From the moment Toru Watanabe decided to become the handsome guy in Tokyo, it was decided that this ridiculous bet was a game between the 3 members of the Human Observation Department. You. Aona Koizumi knocked Toru Watanabe's head with her lesson plan and said, do your best. Okay, don't worry. Toru Watanabe took the liberal arts exam. The first exam was Japanese history and geography, which had a total of 100 points. The exam would start from 9:30 to 11:40. Coincidentally, the exam was about the Battle of the Four Northern Islands. Toru Watanabe mocked Rin Kiyono in his heart, and his confidence grew rapidly. Sure enough, as long as I want to, fate will stand on my side. This was the key point that Rin Kiyono lost the bet. Toru Watanabe firmly believed that this was the Waterloo of first in school. At 10:47, Toru Watanabe finished all the papers. He took another 15 minutes to check them again. If he was the teacher who graded the papers, he would get full marks. At 11:02, he raised his hand. The invigilator walked over. He recognized this famous person and asked, "Student Watanabe, what's wrong?" "I need to go to the toilet." "Okay, go ahead." Toru Watanabe walked out of the classroom and into the quiet corridor. It was so quiet that he could even hear the sound of writing in the exam room. He went down the stairs to the first floor and threw 100 coins into the vending machine to buy a bottle of purified water. After moistening his throat, Toru Watanabe threw the bottle into the trash can and walked slowly to the courtyard surrounded by the school buildings. Standing still, Toru Watanabe took a deep breath, raised his head and shouted, "I am Toru Watanabe from Year 1 Class 4. I am destined to be a great guy in the future. Now, all of you listen to me carefully." Chapter 51. It was even more shameful than he imagined, confessing in front of everyone. The clamor of the students, the scolding of the teachers, and the various gazes of the examinees by the window, Toru Watanabe had the urge to run away. In order to overcome his instinctive weakness, he gave up and roared again. "At Imperial Tea, the day you kissed me, I've always liked you." As if the last breath of air was squeezed out of his lungs, after shouting, Toru Watanabe put his hands on his knees and panted heavily. 4 points of stamina was still too weak. When he recovered and looked up again, he saw the principal with a dark face, Aona Koizumi with a worried face, and the physical education teacher who was rolling up his sleeves. Toru Watanabe was led to the office and was severely lectured. However, he was only reprimanded with a few words. Because of his top grades and Aona Koizumi's help, let alone punishment, his parents weren't even notified. During the lunch break after the exam, Toru Watanabe became the laughingstock of all the boys in class. Even the senior students from the next class and the other floors came to see what kind of person Watanabe was. Osamu Kanai shouted at the top of his voice, "Year 1 Class 2 Miki Kujo, the day you kissed me, I've always liked you, ha 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 ha." Then Keisuke Saito pinched his voice, "I swear to Kanagawa High School, to Shitani Station, to everyone." Before he finished his clumsy imitation, there was a lot of laughter around him. "I think you're jealous of me." This requires superhuman courage, extraordinary courage, and the knowledge to finish the exam in advance. Do you have it? Do you deserve it? Toru Watanabe suppressed the shame in his heart and pretended to be very impressive. In order to get rid of this unbearable atmosphere, as well as wanting to know Miki Kujo's answer, he escaped from the classroom. Toru Watanabe went to class 2, but Miki Kujo was nowhere to be seen. He stopped a girl from class 2. "Excuse me, where did Miki go?" The girl looked at him curiously. "I don't know. I didn't see Kujo return to the classroom after the exam." "I see. Thank you, Inoue." "Watanabe, you know me?" For some reason, the girl surnamed Inoue looked a little excited. "Of course." Rin Kiyono was responsible for remembering the names and appearances of all the first-grade students. "Watanabe, can I ask you a few questions? Sorry, I'm in a hurry to find Miki." Toru Watanabe smiled. When the girl was infatuated, he quickly slipped away. As he passed by class 1, he subconsciously glanced inside the classroom. However, he didn't see Rin Seino. Instead, he exchanged glances with Tomomi Tamamo. She didn't act like an ordinary student, nor did she act like an ex-girlfriend. She treated him like air and treated him coldly. Toru Watanabe felt a headache coming on when he thought about how he would have to find a way to make her date him in the next 5 days. But the most important thing now was to find Miki Kujo. Otherwise, all the shame and effort he had put in would all be for naught. He ran toward the club building. Along the way, the students he saw pointed at him and laughed softly. After this incident, he would definitely be able to ignore other people's gazes. Just like that, Toru Watanabe found proof of his own growth in a difficult situation. Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono were both in the activity classroom. Rin Kiyono wasn't surprised. This was where she usually took her lunch break. It was strange that Miki Kujo was here. Although she was competing with Rin Kiyono for the position of department head, it was only because she wanted to win. She wasn't interested in the human observation department. The only reason she joined was because of the school's rules. She never came here during lunch. Is she waiting for me? Toru Watanabe thought as he walked in. Miki. Miki Kujo responded lazily. She was playing a game on her computer. I've already confessed. What's your answer? You confessed. Toru Watanabe was surprised by her doubtful tone. Yeah. When I took the first paper, it was around 11 o'clock. I was already asleep at that time. I didn't hear it. Come to think of it, it would be abnormal for Miki Kujo to finish the paper at the last minute. Plus, she was always sleep-deprived. In an exam room that didn't allow early submission, sleeping was the only way to pass the time. Toru Watanabe was an exception. But I've already confessed. All the teachers and students can testify for me. I didn't hear it. Miki Kujo said with a smile. Let's do it again in the afternoon. Again? Of course. This kind of thing has to be heard by the person involved, right? Lies. Rin Kiyono, who was reading by the window, suddenly interrupted with a cold voice. Miki Kujo's smile disappeared. She glanced coldly at Rin Kiyono. I don't remember you having the habit of interrupting other people's conversations. Watanabe classmate is different from you. He's an official member of the department. It's one of the responsibilities of a department head to not let him be deceived. Rin Kiyono retorted without holding back. Toru Watanabe felt that Rin Kiyono was implying something. He quickly diverted their attention. Miki, isn't this different from what we agreed on? How can you go back on your word? When did I say that I can't go back on my word? Miki Kujo showed a cruel smile. Toru Watanabe was speechless for a moment. Moreover, Miki Kujo smiled brightly. I only said that I'd consider it. I didn't say that I'd definitely agree. Then what do you want me to do for you to agree? Do you really like me that much? If I don't like you, why can't I just stay on the side? Why do I have to get close to such a dangerous woman like you? The second rule of Tokyo Handsome Guy was to always keep 30% of his mysteriousness to others. No one would think that he had a love game. Miki Kujo pondered for a moment. She hooked her finger at Toru Watanabe and said ambiguously, "Come here." Toru Watanabe walked over and stood on the edge of the sofa. Miki Kujo reached out and grabbed his tie, forcibly pulling him closer. Toru Watanabe was caught off guard and almost fell on top of her. Fortunately, he reacted quickly and put his hand on the back of the sofa. Miki Kujo pulled his tie while smiling and stroking Toru Watanabe's face with her other hand. "Look carefully, you're really good looking." With that, she kissed him. Their lips touched. Toru Watanabe's eyes widened. "Pa." Rin Kiyono closed the book. She said without the slightest emotion, "If you want to be intimate, please go outside." Miki Kujo loosened her tie, put her foot on Toru Watanabe's stomach, and gently pushed him away. "Physical contact isn't that annoying. I'll allow you to be my boyfriend." She put her elbow on the sofa's armrest, put her fist on the side of her face, and said in a rewarding tone, "You have 2 new emails. That's great." Looking at the excited Toru Watanabe, Miki Kujo said mockingly, "Listen, from now on, if you make me even a little bit dissatisfied, the consequences won't be an ordinary breakup. As for the specific consequences, the worse you think, the more correct it is. In the end, she said as if giving a death sentence, "Toru Watanabe, don't even think about going back to your previous life." These words were obviously full of malicious threats and teasing, but Toru Watanabe actually had the illusion that she was sincerely prepared to be his girlfriend. But no matter what she thought or did, his determination to take revenge was unwavering. "I know." Toru Watanabe adjusted his tie. Miki Kujo stretched her foot over. "Put on my shoes." Looking at the foot wrapped in black stockings, Toru Watanabe said, "Boyfriend, you're not a servant, right? Isn't it the boyfriend's job to help his girlfriend put on her shoes?" After saying that, Miki Kujo's smile became more sinister. "Or, do you want me to be dissatisfied? I'm taking advantage of you, I'm taking advantage of you." While trying to hypnotize himself, Toru Watanabe picked up the indoor shoes and put them on Miki Kujo. "The technique is average, and it's not comfortable, and I didn't see your passion for my body. But considering that it's your first time, I'll forgive you for now." Although he hated Miki Kujo, Toru Watanabe couldn't resist the urge to complain. "This is just putting on shoes, you're saying it as if I've done something to you." "You'll have the chance," Miki Kujo said condescendingly, "after you learn the right way to put on my shoes." After putting on the shoes, Miki Kujo immediately left the activity classroom for some reason. Toru Watanabe once again made the most malicious guess. She must have gone to the toilet. And it was diarrhea. Chapter 52. There were only 2 people left in the activity room. "Thank you," Toru Watanabe said to Rin Kiyono. As expected of the Tokyo handsome guy, Rin Kiyono smiled contemptuously. "You obviously don't like each other, but you can do such a shameful thing like confessing in the atrium." From her point of view, Toru Watanabe, who didn't speak the truth, was deceiving Miki Kujo's feelings, so he should be looked down upon. "There's a reason why I had to do this." "Money." "No." "Then it's Kujo-san's young body. How should I say it, compared to you who don't have any breasts, Miki is indeed more attractive." Toru Watanabe added, only referring to the body. "Watanabe-san, you're too rude. Although it's not that big, it's still a little bulge. But then again, there's no such thing as no breasts in this world." Toru Watanabe couldn't help but look at Rin Kiyono's chest, and it did seem to be a little bulge. "What are you looking at?" Rin Kiyono's face became cold. "Today's bow is beautifully tied. It seems that you found a way to deal with my ability to detect lies." "That's only if you don't pursue the matter," Toru Watanabe said modestly. Seino Rin didn't comment and tucked his black hair that was blown by the wind outside the window behind his delicate ears. "My tolerance is as deep as Tionzihu. Even if my subordinates say 1 or 2 rude words to me, I won't take it to heart." Tionzihu, the deepest lake in Japan. "Well, stop changing the topic, it's time for you to answer my question. Deliberately talking about such a rude topic like breasts, can't you avoid it?" "Kiyono classmate, although I'm very grateful for your help regarding this matter, please wait until the day I fall in love with you, then I'll tell you the reason." After listening to Toru Watanabe, Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly. "I've done so much for you. It's about time you fell in love with me, right? Am I not perfect enough? Perfect? Do you know that other than your beauty and intelligence, you have nothing else?" Toru Watanabe only thought about this in his heart. He was not the type of person to attack. Moreover, Rin Kiyono, who thought that her tolerance was as deep as Tionzihu's, was actually very narrow-minded. If he said it out loud, it would definitely make her angry. Women could do anything when they were angry. What if she told Miki Kujo all the lies he had told? Before he could conquer the next 3 girls, he had to work hard to play the role of Miki Kujo's boyfriend. However, after today's incident, what kind of method should he use to conquer the other 3? What a headache. Looking at the silent Toru Watanabe, Rin Kiyono, who thought that she was already perfect, felt a headache. She subconsciously massaged her temples. "I've decided." "Decided on what?" Toru Watanabe snapped out of his daze. After the exam, the Human Observation Department's next club activity: help a girl find a boyfriend. Toru Watanabe immediately guessed her intentions. Don't tell me you want to learn how to conquer boys from other people? Forgive me for being blunt, but that's impossible. Reason. Rin Kiyono was not angry at being rejected. Instead, she asked as if she was asking for advice. If a boy learns how to make a girl fall in love with him, can he use the same method to make you fall in love with him? Watanabe classmate, you're overestimating yourself by comparing yourself to me. Toru Watanabe pursed his lips. In the entire Human Observation Department, he was the only one who was not narcissistic. The other two were hopeless. Although the method can't be the same, the idea can be used as a reference, and it's more useful than just thinking about it. Rin Kiyono explained. That's true, but I still don't think it's possible. Rin Kiyono said indifferently. There's no good reason not to do it. If you don't think it's possible, then follow the director's orders. Kiyono classmate, you might not understand what I mean. Toru Watanabe said with a smile. After this exam, the Human Observation Department won't be under your control anymore. At that time, the club activity will be clothing design. Rin Kiyono put her hand on her chin and thought for a while. I don't think that's possible in the future. Are you seriously thinking about it? No, that's not right. The fact that you said those words after serious consideration has hurt me more. Rin Kiyono couldn't help but laugh. She then coughed twice. Anyway, you can get ready. Yes. Yes. Director. Toru Watanabe's tone was full of anger. It was obvious that he wanted to rebel. It's time to get ready. It's time to prepare the maid uniform, nurse uniform, police uniform, witch uniform, sailor uniform, goth uniform, Lolita uniform, cat ears, and dog tail. Toru Watanabe left the activity classroom full of fighting spirit. On the way back to the school building, he checked the system mail. Activity 2 completed. Successfully reconciled with Miki Kujo. Player received 5,000 points to purchase the master-level piano skill. Miki Kujo's check-in continues. Check-in. Miki Kujo 8 days. It's worth 5,000 points to purchase a master-level skill that's worth 100,000 points, but the piano skill isn't that useful. I'll redeem it when I have enough points. Today is the 29th, and it'll be a new month in 2 days. The shop will be refreshed with new items and skills, so I have to save my points. I wonder if Miki Kujo's monthly check-in reward will give me the same amount of points as the strategy. If I can get another 200,000 points, even if it doesn't change my life, I'll at least have more choices. Before returning to Class 4, Toru Watanabe was stopped halfway. It's the unscrupulous news agency. Watanabe-san, please allow us to ask you a few questions. Sorry, I have to watch the afternoon Mandarin. Toru Watanabe didn't stop and walked straight to class. Hasebi Hyuka immediately followed. Nishikawa Yuto, who was carrying the camera, also walked quickly. The camera was very steady. Was today's matter a last-minute decision, or was it premeditated? No comment. Did Kujo-san accept your confession? No comment. There's a bet on the exam, but you chose to confess now. Does this mean that you're not confident in getting first place? Who was the one who spread the rumor that I want to get first place? News agency, it's you. Is silence a tacit agreement? Then Toru Watanabe-san, who do you think will get first place in the grade? No comment. Conduct committee member Heizawa said that he must expel you. Watanabe-san, do you have anything to say? Expel me? Toru Watanabe was so angry that he laughed. This person is looking for trouble. The principal didn't say anything. Does he think that he can control everything just because he's a conduct committee member? And this is only the beginning. He still had to think of a way to get his hands on 3 female students. Seeing Toru Watanabe's response, Hasebi Hyuka's spirit was lifted. Yes, that's right. She said that you're an impurity of Kanagawa High School and must be removed. I'll wait for her. Last question, Watanabe-san. You're in the same club as Kiyono-san and Kujo-san, but you chose to confess to Kujo-san. Does this mean that Rin Kiyono is inferior to Miki Kujo? What kind of question is this? Those two are equally terrible in a way. No comment. You're not going to answer this question? Not directly saying that Kujo-san is better. Does this mean that in Watanabe-san's heart, Kiyono-san is better? Is it illegal to kill a reporter? Chapter 53. You can report other things however you want, but Miki Kujo is number one in my heart. I hope you can remember this word for word. After getting rid of the annoying news department, Toru Watanabe finally returned to class 4. After the lunch break, no one surrounded him and made fun of him. After all, this was an elite private high school in Japan, which valued atmosphere the most. The goal of every student in Kamigawa was to get into the top 10 universities in Japan, such as Tokyo University, Kyoto University, Keio University, Waseda University, Nagoya University, etc. Of course, they would only get into the top 30 universities. Only the top students were guaranteed to get into the Imperial University. As for the 3 people from the Human Observation Department, as long as there were no accidents, they would almost certainly get a recommendation and didn't need to pass the second exam organized by the university. But if a student only got into Kyoto Prefecture University, Miyazaki University, Utsunomiya University, etc., they would be ridiculed in Kamigawa. In this atmosphere where no one wanted to be discriminated against, the midterm exam proceeded in an orderly manner. At 5:40 p.m. on May 30th, after the last science exam, after the homeroom teacher's speech, the entire school began to clean up. Watanabe, come here. Aona Koizumi shouted. With the advantage of sitting in the back row, Toru Watanabe, who was about to grab the most complete rag, had to give this opportunity to someone else. Koizumi-sensei, what's the matter? Toru Watanabe followed her out of the classroom and asked. Aona Koizumi didn't go to the teacher's office. Instead, she talked in the hallway. After this midterm exam, there may be some students who fail. Toru Watanabe thought for a second and said, You mean, you want us to tutor them again? That's what I think, so I'm here to ask for your opinion. Aona Koizumi nodded. Kanagawa High School's so-called failure didn't refer to the low score, but the low deviation value. The deviation value referred to the overall ranking of the scores. It was not directly related to whether the specific number exceeded a certain line, such as the classic 60 points. To be honest, Toru Watanabe didn't want to agree. For this kind of thing, they could spend money to go to a more expensive private school to find a one-on-one tutor. However, Aona Koizumi was especially good to him. She had also been pleading on his behalf during the school confession yesterday, so there was no reason for him to reject her. I have no problem with that, but you'll have to talk to the others yourself. He nodded. Aona Koizumi smiled and stroked Toru Watanabe's messy but surprisingly pleasing hairstyle. Teacher, if you like children so much, hurry up and have one yourself. Toru Watanabe angrily took her soft and gentle hand away. Aona Koizumi sighed. Teacher wants to, but she doesn't even have a boyfriend. No? Toru Watanabe was surprised. Teacher Koizumi is so beautiful, but she doesn't have a boyfriend? I always thought you were married. Because my requirements are too high. Aona Koizumi jokingly said. What kind of requirements? Toru Watanabe curiously asked. Aona Koizumi counted with her hands. Gentle, masculine, considerate, loyal, kind and smart. Toru Watanabe subconsciously replied, Isn't that me? Aona Koizumi knocked the lesson plan on his head like a little girl. When you really become the Tokyo handsome guy, then you can tease your teacher. Not far, not far. When I reach the second year of high school, it will be about the same. Aona Koizumi didn't continue this topic of challenging the teacher-student relationship. She said, How are you and Kujo classmate? You know, No one can resist my charm. I don't know. With that, Aona Koizumi chuckled twice and warned Toru Watanabe, Teacher knows that you are very popular with girls, but since you are together, you can't be half-hearted. Kujo classmate's family is not ordinary. Don't be too pressured. If you can't do it, you have to learn to give up. She added another sentence. Although that Tokyo handsome guy has to have the confidence to do anything, it doesn't have to be able to do anything. Well, I know. Well, go help clean. If you don't go, people will think that I favor you and deliberately let you be lazy. Compared to being scolded by the teacher, they prefer to clean, right? Maybe they are laughing at me now, of course, except for the male students. Aona Koizumi snappily looked at Toru Watanabe. Hurry up and go, don't talk nonsense here. Yes. When Toru Watanabe returned to the classroom, Osamu Kanai threw a rag. Watanabe, for you. Good brother. After Toru Watanabe cleaned the window, the cleaning came to an end. One after another, students began to leave the school with their backpacks. Toru Watanabe looked through the bright window and confirmed that he could clearly see the feathers of the crows on the iron fence of the sports field in the distance. He also finished cleaning. Because they were waiting for him, Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito were imitating rock singers with a broom to pass the time. The three of them carried their backpacks and left the school together. On the way back, they went into an indoor baseball club to play for a while, had dinner together at KFC, and then dispersed. In the evening, when Toru Watanabe was watching Downton Abbey and doing push-ups, his hometown called. Che, is the exam over? Yes, but the results won't come out until next week. Are you going home after 3 consecutive breaks? The lotus root and plums are all ripe. Yes, Toru Watanabe was a little conflicted. He did miss the atmosphere of his hometown, but at the same time, he also found the 12-hour drive troublesome. It's okay if you don't come back. I'll send you some. That's good. Thank you, Mom. By the way, Ling said that she's going to Tokyo for a holiday this week. Take good care of her. Wait, Mom, I think I should go back. I haven't seen Xiaoyan in a long time. I've already promised Ling. Then why are you asking me if I'm going back? I knew you'd find it troublesome and don't want to come back. My phone is out of gas. I'm hanging up. The TV series said a line that was quite appropriate for the situation. When something bad happens, there's no point in wishing it hadn't happened. The only option is to minimize the damage. It's already happened. It's meaningless to hope it won't happen again. The most important thing now is to reduce the damage. Is Downton Abbey that good? Toru Watanabe found it hard to imagine how good Rin Kiyono, who had already watched the TV series, was. But on second thought, Rin Kiyono definitely wouldn't do push-ups while watching the series. So, even if he was lagging behind for now, in the near future, even if their knowledge levels were the same, he would still be better overall. With this thought, Toru Watanabe felt energized. He memorized the line while doing push-ups with one hand. After training and showering, Toru Watanabe guessed that Yoshimi Tamamo, who had to go out to play after the exam, should have already returned home and started playing with her phone. He sent her a text. Are you free? Toru Watanabe put on his headphones and listened to the English radio station. He looked out the window. In his field of vision, there happened to be a high-class apartment building in the distance that overlooked the surroundings. It was 10 o'clock at night. He could see that every house was lit up. One of the lights in this building might be Rin Kiyono's room. The message kept showing, unread. Before going to bed, Toru Watanabe sent another message. There's something very important I want to talk to you about. Please reply when you see it. The moment he clicked send, Toru Watanabe felt like a scumbag. But there were still 4 days until the end of the event. No matter what, he had to find a way to get back together with Yoshimi Tamamo. Chapter 54. There was no reply for the whole night. If it was Asako Hanada and Mayasahi, Toru Watanabe would choose to give up, but now it was Yoshimi Tamamo who could be with money, so he decided to persist. As for Yoshimi Tamamo, the system event did not have any restrictions. It would be best if he could solve it with money, but if not, he would think of another way. But no matter what, Toru Watanabe did not intend to deceive her or anyone else except Miki Kujo. Whether or not he could deceive Miki Kujo was also a problem. Moreover, the system reminded him that there was a great risk to his life in reconciling with Yoshimi Tamamo. Blindly acting recklessly would only destroy him. There was another point, which was the most important point: Tokyo handsome guy should not play with women's feelings. Although as a Kujo who suffered for a long time, he also wanted to take revenge quickly, but now there was no immediate danger of losing his life, so it did not matter if it was a little later. If he really could not take revenge, he could only wrong himself and really marry into her family. At that time, Miki Kujo would give birth to 4 children for him. During this time, thinking of ways to invade her family property was also a way. I still haven't changed my bad habit of thinking about random things early in the morning. Toru Watanabe shook his head and began to wash, but he still could not free himself from the complicated thoughts. He decided not to lift the dumbbells today, but to run, ready to use the wind to blow his chaotic brain. Putting on the headphones, there were classic Spanish examples that he chose himself. It was a total of 2 kilometers from Shiya Station to Shinjuku Gyoen. Toru Watanabe jogged along Shinjuku Avenue while practicing his pronunciation. No histo non Spanespa, pero tengo mucho nastir. I have never stayed in Spain, but I want to go. Como se dice esto en inglés? How to say this in English? Podría hablar más despacio? Can you say it slower? On the last day of May, it was already bright at 6 o'clock, and the air was as fresh as in the countryside. The sky was like the blue water in a swimming pool, and the white clouds were like bubbles in the shower gel. The combination of the two made people feel fresh and simple. In Rin Kyono's words, it was like the paintings of Dick Brunner. Toru Watanabe only knew that Brunner was a famous painter from the Netherlands, but he did not know the specific paintings. Huff, huff. He panted, feeling an inexplicable excitement all over his body. His body was telling him, "Watanabe, you're really becoming amazing, step by step." He felt like he had become Forrest Gump and was about to run out of his own life. His brain began to clear up and his thoughts gradually. Yes, not only do I have to work hard for my dream like Gatsby and become a great person, but I also have to be like Forrest Gump. No matter when, no matter where, no matter who I am with, I have to maintain the integrity of a Tokyo handsome guy, and do what I have to do. Toru Watanabe, who gave up the despicable idea of invading the family property and felt that his soul had been sublimated, thought he could run directly from Shinjuku to his hometown in Iwate Prefecture. You have a new email. Stamina. 10 minutes later, Toru Watanabe arrived at the Akaba Shrine in Shinjuku Gyoen. He felt that his plan to run from Shinjuku to his hometown in Iwate Prefecture from Shinjuku still needed to be discussed. After buying a sandwich and milk from the breakfast cart near the shrine, Toru Watanabe sat on the steps of the shrine, sipping the milk and taking a bite of the ham sandwich. After eating half of it and relieving his hunger, he put the milk carton on the steps and took out his cell phone. He did not send any more messages to Yoshimi Tamamo. If she replied to him, he would discuss the money transaction with her. If she did not reply, then it would be over. The same was true about Asako Hanada and Mayasahi. If it came to the point where he could only deceive other people's feelings, he could only choose to give up. But before he gave up, he would try his best to find other ways to achieve the goal of a relationship. If it went well, it would go well. If it didn't, then it would be over. As a Tokyo handsome guy who worked as hard as Gatsby, was as pure as Forrest Gump, and had a love game, Toru Watanabe believed that sooner or later he would be able to find a way to deal with Miki Kujo without deceiving a girl's feelings. Ayako, where are you? I can't go. Hanma Ayako immediately sent an emoji of a rabbit with tears the size of a fist. What? I got up early and waited at the station, Toru Watanabe joked, but he felt regretful. Using a light novel analogy, Ayako Hanma was his childhood sweetheart. Although the two of them didn't play together much in the village, after leaving the village, they would subconsciously treat each other as family and best friends. Even though they didn't interact much, they wanted to take care of each other and at the same time trust each other. Toru Watanabe didn't really understand this kind of psychology that went against one's will, so he decided to ask Rin Kiyono when he had time. I told you before, I joined the playing club in high school. The head said he wanted to train me to support the school's baseball team. Honma Ayako sent another screenshot. It was a chat history between her and a person with the username Hirakawa. The chat was at 6 a.m., and the content was to gather at the school field at 9:30 a.m. and remember to bring your instruments. Next time, Toru Watanabe replied, "My 3 consecutive breaks." After this cry, there was an emoji of a rabbit being strangled to death. Can't you let go of the rabbit? It's so cute and delicious. After eating the sandwich, Toru Watanabe went to the station and prepared to take the tram back to his rented house. On the way, he wanted to send a message to Rin Kiyono to show off and talk about his enlightenment and growth during the run. But he didn't have her contact information, so he could only wait for school to start next week. When he arrived at his rented house, he was just in time to catch up with the Broadcasting Association's broadcast of radio gymnastics, so he did it with the primary school students. After taking a shower, he seriously did the senior high school entrance exam papers that he got from Aona Koizumi. While he was concentrating on solving the questions, his silent phone vibrated. What's the matter? It was Yoshimi Tamamo. Can you say it face to face? After about a minute, Yoshimi Tamamo replied, 10 o'clock, Shibuya Central Street, Kukai Jialai. Kukai Jialai? Where is it? This name is too strange. Come or not. Toru Watanabe looked at the time. It was enough for him to finish the math paper in his hand, so he didn't rush to prepare. After finishing the math problems, correcting them, and sorting out the mistakes in simple calculus, Toru Watanabe changed into a white shirt and light brown casual pants. All his clothes were bought in the rural town, and he always felt that it matched his name, Toru Watanabe, showing a Showa style in the 1950s. Fortunately, he was handsome enough. In the shop where he worked part-time, a girl asked him if he bought the retro style in the Harajuku trendy store, which was the same reason why his messy hairstyle was considered trendy. Taking the tram to Shibuya Central Street, Toru Watanabe knew that Kukai Jialai was a cosmetic store. The 3-story store sold drugs, cosmetics, masks, snacks, and mother and baby products. After waiting at the door for 5 minutes, Yoshimi Tamamo, who was wearing a short skirt early in the summer, came from the direction of the station. The white trendy short sleeves were tucked in the denim short skirt. Because of the slender waist, the short sleeves looked loose and very fashionable. Her white little face wore light makeup, and her lips were moist and glossy. She crossed her arms and asked impatiently, "What's the matter?" "You." Ding ding dong, ding ding dong. The jingle bells, that attracted the attention of passers-by suddenly sounded. Toru Watanabe's face was ugly. Although he wanted to ignore it and continue to talk to Yoshimi Tamamo, he had to pick up the phone. "Where are you now?" On the other side of the phone, Miki Kujo's voice was full of murderous intent. Chapter 55. Shibuya Central Street was full of people, but it didn't give Toru Watanabe any sense of security. Among these people, are there any men sent by Miki Kujo to monitor him? Do they have succinylcholine in their hands? When he first received the event notice, he was blinded by the generous reward. Once he really carried it out, he knew that the great risk to his life was not a joke. How should he answer? Should he confess, or lie? It's rare to have a rest, so I came out to buy clothes while the weather is good. There was nothing to hesitate about. Confessing was a dead end, and only lying could barely survive. Oh, is that so? Miki Kujo said meaningfully. Toru Watanabe was slightly flustered, but now he could only continue. Of course. But Shibuya is really crowded, worthy of being the crossroads with the most traffic in the world. Stay where you are. With a few digits in your card, the clothes you buy will only make me lose face. Few digits? I have He opened the system panel and looked at it. 2,155,652 yen, that's not a small amount. How many millions? Miki Kujo asked casually. A few. Well, I'm a little poor, but the most important thing for a person is the inside. At this time, Yoshimi Tamamo, who was waiting impatiently, turned and entered the building of Keikai Jialai, without saying a word. Looking at her back that said, "I'll never give you a second chance," Toru Watanabe sighed in his heart. But he still decided to struggle. If he got rid of Miki Kujo now, there was still a possibility of catching up. He said to Miki Kujo on the phone, "I'm chasing you because I like you, not because I want to spend your money, and if you buy clothes for me, others will think that I'm a poor boy from the countryside, a gigolo. You told me that you want to live a life of idleness. Isn't that living off a gigolo?" "That's true, but why do I feel that you seem to be very arrogant today?" Yoshimi Tamamo's tone suddenly became cold. "You dare to talk back?" If he continued speaking, he might really die. "Just you wait," Miki Kujo said in a commanding tone and hung up the phone. About 20 minutes later, Miki Kujo got out of an ordinary-looking car. She was wearing a baseball cap today and was dressed in a youthful style. She looked like a perfect high school girlfriend. "You're beautiful today," Toru Watanabe praised. "Do you mean that I'm not usually pretty?" "No, how could that be? What I mean is that you're different from your usual beautiful style." Of course Miki is beautiful all the time. Miki Kujo was non-committal. She moved her face closer to Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe subconsciously wanted to hide, but she gave him a warning glance, so he could only stay still. Miki Kujo first sniffed his shirt collar, then his chest, and finally his sleeves. Toru Watanabe was very happy to be checked so closely. Of course, it wasn't because Miki Kujo cared about him, but her behavior meant that she didn't send anyone to follow him. It was just a coincidence. Toru Watanabe also deliberately put his nose on Miki Kujo's neck. "You smell so good, Miki. Is that Yoshimi Tamamo from Class 1? What did you talk about with her?" Toru Watanabe, who was just talking nonsense, felt his heart almost jump out of his throat. He immediately let out a thump sound that could be heard by both of them. Miki Kujo was still sniffing Toru Watanabe's sleeves, but she looked at Toru Watanabe with a smile. The check, just now, was just a show. She wanted to see Toru Watanabe breathe a sigh of relief one moment and then become nervous the next. "Ha ha ha," Miki Kujo laughed happily. Her face was very close to Toru Watanabe, and the brim of the baseball cap covered his face. "I love it when you're scared. It's so cute, but it only took half a second for her expression to change from a smile to a murderous one. If there's a next time, I'll take off your clothes, tie the two of you together, and hang you from the Tokyo Tower." Toru Watanabe couldn't guess what this woman was thinking. He felt that she could go to Rin Kiyono's mental hospital, but he didn't doubt her ability to do what she said. "I'm just discussing tutoring with Tamamo classmate Koizumi. Sensei asked me to do it, and Rin Kiyono also participated." Is that so? You can ask the two of them. But I don't think you need to do that, because I like you so much that I want to take you home and introduce you to my parents." "I hope what you're thinking is what you're saying." Miki Kujo changed her grip on Toru Watanabe's sleeve. "Let's go, I'll buy you clothes." Toru Watanabe finally breathed a sigh of relief. He was half forced by Miki Kujo into the Shibuya boutique men's clothing store. After entering the store, Miki Kujo let go of Toru Watanabe and walked around the store. She walked along the rows of clothes, pulled out a brown suit from among them, and handed it to Toru Watanabe. "Try it on." Toru Watanabe looked at the suit and said with great resistance, "I feel uncomfortable wearing a suit." "It's fine as long as I feel comfortable." Miss Kujo gave the order. Toru Watanabe had to take the suit and walk into the fitting room. After a long time, he finally put on the first suit in his life. The Western-style school uniform didn't count. When he walked out feeling uncomfortable, the female salesperson who had been quietly waiting at the side widened her eyes and couldn't help but walk forward. She thoughtfully helped Toru Watanabe straighten his cuffs and praised, Few people dare to try a brown suit. Why does it fit you so well? It's perfect. After straightening the cuffs, she swallowed her saliva without a trace and reached out to Toru Watanabe's collarbone. The female salesperson stared at Toru Watanabe's side face with more fanaticism than the fans of celebrities. Miki Kujo waved away the female salesperson's hand with an ugly expression. It's too ugly. Take it off. I think your boyfriend looks very good in it. The length doesn't need to be modified. It's almost tailor-made. I said, take it off. Miki Kujo's aura was on full display. The salesperson could only maintain an awkward smile and couldn't say a word. Toru Watanabe couldn't wait to take it off. When he was walking to the fitting room, Miki Kujo stopped him again. Try this. Again. Toru Watanabe looked at the black suit in her hand. When he changed into the black suit and straightened the cuffs that were difficult to button, the female salesperson seemed to see an unrestrained romantic young master. She subconsciously clasped her hands in front of her chest. Only in this way could she restrain her desire to touch him. Miki Kujo glanced at the infatuated female salesperson and sneered, "No, change again." As a normal man, Toru Watanabe hated changing clothes the most. I've tried 2 pieces. I don't think I'm suited to wear a suit at all. Let's buy a short-sleeved shirt. Miki Kujo completely ignored Toru Watanabe's will and chose a suit for a man in his 30s or 40s. Toru Watanabe took the suit and sighed softly, hoping that the salesperson could see his impatience. When he walked out for the 3rd time, Miki Kujo obviously clicked her tongue and said impatiently, "Change again." Change again? Toru Watanabe looked at the female salesperson. How do I look? I've been in sales here for 3 years, and I've never seen anyone more suited to wear a suit than you. You can even wear such a mature style perfectly. The female salesperson had said this countless times, but this time, she was sincere. Toru Watanabe looked at Miki Kujo and tilted his head, meaning, "Look," she said, "it's done. It's about time." If she respected Toru Watanabe's opinion, she wouldn't be the Kujo lady. She chose a gray suit again. This time, Toru Watanabe and Miki Kujo looked at each other for 3 seconds before taking the suit from her and walking into the fitting room. "Your boyfriend is so handsome," the female salesperson said. Miki Kujo crossed her arms and tapped her fingers impatiently. She decided to send someone to contact the clothing company and ask them to fire this talkative salesperson. She would be banned from the clothing industry in the future. He spoils you so much. Most men hate changing clothes. In their eyes, it's a very troublesome thing. Is that so? Miki Kujo said indifferently. And he only has eyes for you. When he was asking for my opinion just now, he kept looking at your face. How enviable. Kujio Miyoshi sneered non-committally. Toru Watanabe walked out of the fitting room for the 4th time. By now, he had adjusted his mentality and said, "What do you think? If you don't like it, I'll change it again. I'll definitely make you satisfied today." Miki Kujo said meaningfully, "Turn around for me." Toru Watanabe turned around. "The back is too ugly." Toru Watanabe took off his jacket and was about to change again. "Forget it. That's all you've got." Miki Kujo took out a card and handed it to the salesperson. "Wrap up the suit he tried on just now, the one he's wearing now, and all the suits and shirts of this size in the store. Also, give me a tie of each color." The salesperson's eyes were no longer filled with the desire to eat Toru Watanabe. She stared at the card with shining eyes. She took it with both hands and suppressed her excitement. "Okay, please wait a moment." "Please wait." Toru Watanabe hurriedly stopped the salesperson and said to Miki Kujo, "What are you doing?" "Buying clothes." Buying clothes. Was this a boutique? Was this how rich people did things? Toru Watanabe said, "1 suit is enough. Why buy so many?" "Toru Watanabe, you'd better give up on your country bumpkin mentality." Miki Kujo ordered, "If I see you wearing the same clothes twice in the future, take off your clothes and dance." Toru Watanabe ignored the salesperson's strange look. What about the school uniform? I'll get someone to order it for you. Kanagawa High School's school uniform was specially ordered. It was usually worn for 3 years. When Toru Watanabe ordered the school uniform, his family would definitely buy it, but they were also distressed for a long time. How much would it cost to buy a new set every day for 3 years? More than 1,000 days. Although there was a grudge between them, Toru Watanabe did not want to take advantage of Miki Kujo, even if the money was not worth mentioning to her. It was not even comparable to a drop of seawater in the Gulf of Tokyo. Buy. I'll buy the suit. But forget about the school uniform, right? If I keep wearing the new uniform at school, others will notice. Although I want to be an idle person, it will be embarrassing to be talked about by others. Miki Kujo was amused by Toru Watanabe's self-righteous behavior, but she still agreed, forget about the school uniform, but you have to wear a new uniform every day. At this point, Toru Watanabe had no choice but to agree. After buying the suit, Miki Kujo led Toru Watanabe to buy short sleeves, shirts, pants, shoes, socks and so on. In the end, they also bought a black Rolex watch. Toru Watanabe, as a man, almost accepted the watch that was full of mechanical beauty. However, the figure that was several times more than his entire wealth made him sober. Although in the end, he was still forced to wear the watch. Toru Watanabe, who went out empty-handed and prepared to spend all the money he had, was sent home by Miki Kujo in 2 cars. This is the sugar-coated bullet of capitalism, Watanabe. You have to remember the original intention and mission of the revolution. In the small rental apartment filled with shopping bags from various boutiques, Toru Watanabe clenched his fists. Chapter 56. Toru Watanabe hung up his suit and other clothes that were easily wrinkled. He also cleaned up the useless shopping bags and immediately continued to work on the second-year exam papers. After he finished all the papers and mocked them, it was the second morning of the 3-day break. The system refreshed. Items: detector, 11,000, healing medicine, 11,000, fruit knife, 11,000. Toru Watanabe blinked and comforted himself not to panic. After all, it was worth 1,000 points. How could it really be a fruit knife? He clicked on the description. Fruit knife. Unstoppable. Peeling knife does not stick. Please be careful. Because it is too sharp, there will be a delay in feeling the pain after cutting off the finger. However, the blade will not stick to the blood. You really used it to peel fruits. Toru Watanabe was dumbfounded. Don't panic, Watanabe, you still have skills. You still have a chance to turn the tables. Skills: beginner, calligraphy, 100. Master, camping, 1,000. Master, photography, 10,000. Master, car repair, 100,000. Car repair. I won't swear. Toru Watanabe closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Still relying on the system for revenge? What kind of skill was this? To become a car repair worker? Or to become Edison Chen's successor? Impossible. First, Miki Kujo would never allow him to repair cars. Second, Miki Kujo had the final say on whether or not he would take a picture. It was even possible that he would be the one taking the picture. I'm so angry. Toru Watanabe felt very uncomfortable when he thought about how he had to continue living off Miki Kujo and carefully deal with her eccentric mind. He did 2 sets of 50 push-ups and 2 sets of 50 curls in one go. He was so tired that he could not move. Only then did he calm down. Toru Watanabe did not have much hope for July. After all, the system was very good. It was so good that it had all kinds of skills, including car repair. Because it was so good, the chance of getting a skill that could be used for revenge was very small. The system was unreliable. He could only rely on himself. Believe in yourself, Watanabe, you can do it. The next morning, Toru Watanabe still ran along Shinjuku Avenue from the Shiya station to the Shinjuku Imperial Garden. After returning, he did radio calisthenics. Instead of studying during the day, he went out with Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito to relax. This time, Miki Kujo did not call to check on him. It seemed that the man was not within her surveillance range. Toru Watanabe and the other two went fishing in Fongzhou Park in the morning. The park near the coast of Tokyo Bay was filled with men holding fishing poles. Their ages ranged from those who couldn't even lift a fishing pole to those who were too old to walk. Toru Watanabe only caught one trout that had not yet grown enough to be eaten, while the other two caught 3 trout, big and small. In the afternoon, they went to the Fenghai Sports Park camping ground, where they rented an open-air barbecue spot and ate a barbecue buffet. For the whole day, whether it was Osamu Kanai or Keisuke Saito, they did not notice that the clothes he wore today were expensive. From this point, Toru Watanabe, as an old-school teenager, admitted that the two were real men. After all, now many men could discuss cosmetics with women, and they were familiar with the styles of various clothes. The bottles and cans on the table were also piled up into a small mountain. Considering that the material life of mankind was gradually becoming more prosperous and began to pursue refinement, Toru Watanabe had to admit that they might be the trend of the future. Of course, that was not necessarily the case. After all, men were always lazy and rough when it came to taking care of themselves. They were more willing to spend time on cars, computers, and shoes. And some men were too lazy to go out and buy clothes for a year, but they spent money on beautiful dresses for their game characters. They even had very detailed requirements for the dress's elegance, the degree of exposure when walking, whether there were laces, and so on. Men were strange. As a man, Toru Watanabe sometimes did not understand these guys and himself. On the last day of the 3 consecutive holidays, he studied hard in his rented apartment for the whole day. Of course, he still insisted on running and swimming at night. Only by maintaining enough energy would it be more beneficial to study and work. This was something he had to keep in mind. On the first day of school in June, Tokyo officially entered the rainy season and it began to rain heavily. Toru Watanabe got off at Shikagaya Station, held an umbrella, and blended into the crowd going to Kanagawa High School. At the school gate, he was looked at like a criminal by the discipline committee member on duty, as if he would pull out a gun from his bag at any time. Perhaps in the future, he would have to prevent this possibility, but for now, Toru Watanabe could only pull out a fruit knife at any time. This morning, when he was changing his indoor shoes, he met Rin Kiyono, who had nothing but beauty and intelligence. Kiyono classmate, the results will be out at noon today. I got the exam answers from Koizumi sensei and estimated your score. I think you're in a bad situation. Are you showing off that Koizumi sensei likes you more? I don't play this kind of game in kindergarten. Go find your girlfriend. What I mean is, my score this time is very high. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono's side profile. If you didn't get first place by chance, what would have happened to you? Rin Kiyono turned her body slightly, her back facing Toru Watanabe. I know that boys are more energetic in the morning, and I admit that my charm is irresistible, but Watanabe classmate, I didn't expect you to harass me at school so early in the morning. I have a girlfriend. Rin Kiyono smiled. Okay, Watanabe classmate, stop dreaming so early in the morning, it's time to wake up. Weren't you there when Miki Kujo promised me? Ah, you're talking about that. I'm talking about your wishful thinking of getting first place. Just wait and see. It wasn't just the two of them, the other students were also paying attention to the ranking of the first year. Toru Watanabe walked into the classroom, and Keisuke Saito, who had unexpectedly arrived earlier than him, egged him on. Watanabe, go ask Koizumi sensei about it. Won't we know in the afternoon? Don't you want to know in advance? You can let Kiyono classmate and Kujo classmate. Kujo classmate is your girlfriend. Forget about her. You can't count on Rin Kiyono either. Why? I've been working hard. Toru Watanabe put away his bag, took out his textbook, and looked at this guy. Okay, Saito classmate, stop dreaming so early in the morning, it's time to wake up. I feel like your tone is asking for a beating. I feel the same, Toru Watanabe admitted. The morning class passed in excitement. During this time, some students went to the teacher to ask about the ranking in advance, but they were all rejected. During English class, Aona Koizumi glanced at Toru Watanabe a few times, but he didn't understand what it meant, and he didn't ask. He was confident that he would get first place. At noon, the bulletin board on the first floor was crowded with people. The first year's floor was the highest, and Osamu Kanai asked the third-year student in the baseball club to help take a look. In fact, there was no need to go through so much trouble. An unknown senior squeezed in the innermost row shouted out the ranking and score with a loud voice no weaker than Osamu Kanai's. First year. First. Rin Kiyono. 888 points. With such a malicious number, Toru Watanabe suspected that she did it on purpose. Compared to this, damn it. I stayed up late to revise. Why couldn't I beat this literary girl who only read miscellaneous books? What happened to the saying that the heavens reward the diligent? It's all a lie. Toru Watanabe looked at the corridor between the teaching building and the activity room. It was as if he could see Rin Kiyono, who was on her way to the activity room. She flipped her long hair and snorted disdainfully, laughing at his antics in the morning. However, he wasn't the only one who felt worse than Toru Watanabe. For example, the other boys in the class were either depressed or wailing in pity. Hey, don't tell me you guys really want to get first place? Young people who dare to dream. But if Rin Kiyono is first, then I should be second place. Second place isn't bad either. I've improved and have a goal to strive for in the future. Even if I get first place, I don't dare to. Second. Miki Kujo. 887 points. Impossible. Toru Watanabe, who was comforting himself, joined the wailing group. He was third again. This was the third time. The third time, there was no improvement. Third. Toru Watanabe. 886 points. He was just 1 point away, and this was because he was lucky enough to ask Rin Kiyono about the Battle of the Four Northern Islands before the exam. Fourth. Tanehara Kenji. 841 points. Fifth. Anton Xioping. 837 points. Overall, the results of the entire school's first grade had improved, especially the boys. However, wouldn't Miki Kujo be kicked out of the Human Observation Department? That's great. Freedom. At this time, there was a sudden commotion at the notice board. Toru Watanabe looked over from the third-floor corridor window. The principal was pasting something new on the notice board. What was it that was worth the principal personally pasting it? Soon, the principal answered everyone's doubts. He took over the PE teacher's loudspeaker. Hey, I have something to tell everyone. Kujo's math paper is missing 1 point. This time, the first place is Kiyono and Kujo, the second place is Toru Watanabe, and the other students have each improved by 1 place. By the way, to summarize this 3-school joint examination, our school has achieved very brilliant results. It's all thanks to the efforts of all the teachers and students. In this examination, a large number of students have made great progress. Looking at the principal who became long-winded as soon as he started to speak to the whole school, Toru Watanabe deeply realized that everyone in the world had a hard time living. However, he, Toru Watanabe, did not lose out. He had improved, right? It was good to have improved. As for whether the score was calculated wrongly, who the head of the Human Observation Department was, he had bad luck, referring to the system's refresh, and the exam was even worse. He could not and did not want to care. Chapter 57. Toru Watanabe, who thought that the dispute had left him, didn't expect to hear news that could turn the tables just after lunch break. To be precise, it should be the reason why he was buried. The first period in the afternoon was English class. Aona Koizumi, as the homeroom teacher, used her class to talk about the midterm exam. When she walked into the class, she saw that everyone was dejected. She smiled like a friend and said, Are you all still regretting that you didn't get first place? Yes, Osamu Kunai replied in a long tone. Toru Watanabe glanced at this guy. There were a total of 160 people in the first grade. How could someone like you, who was ranked after 100, hurt their hearts? Although you didn't achieve your dream, I still want to praise everyone. Everyone has improved a lot compared to the monthly exam, especially Watanabe. Facing Aona Koizumi's gratified gaze, Toru Watanabe wasn't happy at all. Teacher, although I improved by 1 place, I'm still third in terms of the number of people. In essence, I haven't improved. How can that be? Aona Koizumi laughed. Watanabe, you took the liberal arts exam and scored 886 points. Among the students who entered Tokyo University last year, the highest score for the liberal arts exam was 883 points. Although the paper was relatively simple, you're only in your first year of high school. You're already very, very outstanding. Toru Watanabe was stunned. Teacher, Kiyono and Miki, are they in liberal arts or science? This is the reason why I want to praise you. They took the science exam. Among the students who entered Tokyo University last year, the highest score for the science exam was 893 points. Kiyono and Kujo only scored 888 points. In a sense, Watanabe, you're better than them. Toru Watanabe was stunned. Aona Koizumi looked at his expression and explained, the reason why we didn't separate the rankings and let the students who chose liberal arts and science are ranked together is because, after all, it's the first grade. The liberal arts and science subjects haven't been finalized, and the Ministry of Education won't allow it. What? So I'm first? Heaven rewards the diligent. Toru Watanabe was about to cry tears of joy. He raised his hand. Teacher, I request to rearrange the exam. I'll take the science exam, or they'll take the arts exam. You want to get first place? Are you going to ask Kiyono classmate to do something? Aona Koizumi looked at Toru Watanabe with dissatisfaction. Watanabe, you're already together with Kujo-san. You have to be loyal. Speaking of this, the class burst into laughter. People of this age always like to make fun of relationships between men and women. Teacher, Toru Watanabe said helplessly, the reorganized exam isn't a midterm exam, so there won't be a condition where whoever is first can make the other two do whatever they want. I just want to prove my strength. That was true, but with the narcissism of the other two, a simple provocation would be enough, right? This kind of thing could be discussed in private. There was no need to let others know. This was a game that belonged to the three of them. I see. Aona Koizumi thought for a while. If you can get the agreement of the other two, I'll find a way to persuade the principal to arrange a test paper and an exam venue for you. That's great. I like Teacher Koizumi the most. Oh, Watanabe, you bastard. You already have Kujo classmate, but you still want to steal Teacher Koizumi from us. Unforgivable. Aona Koizumi's oval-shaped face blushed. She glared at Toru Watanabe and clapped her hands to signal everyone to keep quiet. This time, other than Watanabe's excellent results, many other students have improved, such as... Originally, after the midterm exam ended and the club activities returned to normal, Toru Watanabe only needed to go to the Human Observation Department on Friday. However, he had to go today. As he walked along the corridor to the club building, he felt that his footsteps were much lighter, and he felt more confident. The activity room of the Human Observation Department was located alone on the innermost side of the 5th floor of the club building. It was originally a storage room, and the walls were piled with junk. In the remaining space, there was an old beach table. Of course, this was before. When Miki Kujo stepped into this activity room, other than the beach table and steel chair, the room was decorated into a small but luxurious living room. Toru Watanabe liked this activity room the most. At dusk, the whole room would be dyed with the color of honey by the setting sun. A breeze blew in through the open window and flipped Rin Kiyono's book on the beach table, or his Spanish dictionary. Now, this activity room was about to become his private territory for studying fashion and design. In addition, he had already decided that if he got first place in the retest, he would waste 10,000 points to exchange for the proficient level of photography. He couldn't understand why Toru Watanabe, who had always been rational, would do this. But men were slaves to their desires, whether it was power, beauty, or money. Toru Watanabe didn't like power, and he only had enough money to use. He didn't have much desire for beauties either. He was just a pure photography enthusiast. Forgive him for this little bit of personal interest. Photography is about light. As long as the light is good, everything will look good. The light in the activity room is very good. He pulled open the door of the activity room. The atmosphere inside seemed very peaceful. Miki Kujo and Rin Kiyono were reading and eating as usual. But without thinking, they must have reached some kind of compromise after some debate. Aha! Toru Watanabe cleared his throat. Good afternoon, both of you. I have something to tell you. What is it? Rin Kiyono responded while continuing to read the hardcover book in her hand. Toru Watanabe told them about the arts and science subjects. So, I think for the sake of fairness, we should redo the exam. Watanabe-san. Rin Kiyono was still reading the book in her hand. Don't find excuses for yourself. People can only move forward when they admit defeat. Miki Kujo added disdainfully, when you're not strong enough, you have to learn to obediently submit to the strong. And so, Toru Watanabe, who had been fantasizing and fighting against fate, was destroyed before his will could be conveyed. He had nowhere to go and his long-cherished wish floated in the void. Although he didn't really want to do anything to the other two girls. I'll go back first today. After saying this in low spirits, Toru Watanabe prepared to leave this annoying activity room. I'll let them go this time. Next time, I'll get first place fair and square. By the way, Rin Kiyono said, please post this on the bulletin board of the club building. Toru Watanabe took the flyer. It said, to help you achieve love. If you need help, please come to the Human Observation Department on the 5th floor. We'll keep your secret. Please believe in our ability. By Human Observation Department. You're really going to do this? Unlike Watanabe-san who doesn't want to admit defeat, I'm very clear that I'm not good at love. Not good enough. Kiyono-san, have you ever been in love? You don't even know anything about love. Toru Watanabe wasn't polite with her words. Watanabe-san and Kujo-san have only been together for a few days. I don't think you have enough experience to say this to me. That was what he said. Boring. Miki Kujo stood up. I won't be coming here for a while. Watanabe, you're not allowed to come here either. Rin Kiyono also stood up. She leaned against the open window and crossed her arms. According to the agreement, I'm number one. I have the right to make you do anything. Miki Kujo sneered. I'm number one too. You know very well how you got number one. Of course I know, but I'm still number one. Well, Toru Watanabe said, in a sense, I'm number one, right? Both of them looked at him at the same time, then looked away. Toru Watanabe wasn't happy. If you have the ability, then take the exam again. Miki aside, Kiyono-san, do you dare to say that you can beat me? Miki Kujo looked at Rin Kiyono with a smile. Rin Kiyono flipped her long hair. I finally know why you two are together. You've already lost, but you're still not willing to accept the reality. Please answer me directly. Can you pass or not? Toru Watanabe looked straight into her eyes. Rin Kiyono slightly looked away. Why should I answer you? The facts are already very clear. On the bulletin board, Rin Kiyono is number one. Didn't you say that admitting your shortcomings is also an area where you're better than me? Toru Watanabe reminded her with bad intentions. I have 888 points, you have 886 points, and this is under the condition that I taught you the Battle of the Four Northern Islands. Speaking of this, Toru Watanabe felt like he was caught cheating. He instantly lost his confidence. Just you wait for the final exam. Alright, Are you going to take the liberal arts exam or the science exam? I want to take the same exam as you. The two beautiful girls fell into silence at the same time. Toru Watanabe laughed. Are you panicking? You must be afraid that I'll surpass you. You even said something like, that level of knowledge, it's not good if you don't understand before the teacher teaches you, and it's even worse if you don't understand after the teacher teaches you. That level of knowledge doesn't come naturally with age. Humans can be eliminated. The two beautiful girls' faces were ashen. Toru Watanabe's memory was very good. He completely repeated what the two of them said. Rin Kiyono let out a light breath. It seems that I need to be serious and let some people know how powerless they are. Miki Kujo stared at Toru Watanabe with a terrifying expression. She sneered and said, Tonight, I'm going to punish you. I'm joking. Follow me. Miki Kujo ordered without turning her head. Miki, you see, I still have to participate in the club activities. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono for help. He hoped that she would continue to go against Miki Kujo. Rin Kiyono chuckled. Watanabe-san, don't forget to post the flyer on the bulletin board when you leave. Chapter 58. Toru Watanabe followed Miki Kujo out of the school. When they passed by the baseball field, Osamu Kanai, who was resting, ran over to say hello. He first took a look at Miki Kujo, who was so beautiful that he couldn't take his eyes off her, and then punched Toru Watanabe's chest. I really envy you for having such a beautiful girlfriend like Kujo-san. Shallow. Toru Watanabe pretended to be proud and said, You only see Miki's appearance, but you don't see her true nature. If you see her true nature, you won't even have time to run. This sentence was only in his mind. Where are you guys going? Is the club activity over? Well, how do I say this? Miki wants to play a little game with me, you know. Who allowed you to stop? Miki Kujo turned around and reached out to grab Toru Watanabe's ear, and walked towards the oak tree at the school gate. Toru Watanabe said to the envious Osamu Kanai, Did you see that? Jealous and henpecked are the things I like most about her. It hurts, Miki, be gentle. Osamu Kanai was so jealous that he raised his baseball bat and made a gesture of swinging it at Toru Watanabe with all his might. But he certainly didn't expect that Toru Watanabe was really in pain. Miki Kujo only let go of Toru Watanabe when his ear was pulled behind the oak tree. I'm going abroad for a while. Toru Watanabe rubbed his red ear and made a sound of regret. Freedom. That's great. Miki Kujo raised her index finger and rudely poked Toru Watanabe's nose, who was about to smile uncontrollably. You better be careful. If I find out that you're getting close to another girl. She didn't finish her sentence and only revealed a bloodthirsty sneer. Then, it's a promise. I won't contact other girls, and you can't contact other boys. Toru Watanabe said this just to show that he cared about her. Miki Kujo was stunned for a moment. Then, she retracted her hand and put her face close to Toru Watanabe's face. She smiled and teased, Don't worry, I'm yours. That's good. Toru Watanabe leaned back slightly, putting some distance between them. He was a little unable to control his body that was almost 16 years old. Take it. What's this? Toru Watanabe took the card from her. You'll have to spend more than $1 million a month in the future. Why? I don't need that much. Besides, I'm just a student, so I don't have anywhere to spend money. That's your business. Miki Kujo stood up straight. $1 million is just the beginning. There'll be more in the future. You'd better get rid of the mentality of taking money too seriously. You don't think that as my man, you only need to stay in school to study and take exams, right? You want to bring me into the so-called high society? Like a high-class ball? Or follow you to do business? Toru Watanabe could only think of these. Miki Kujo didn't confirm or deny it. She just sneered and said, You'd better pray that you don't embarrass me. Toru Watanabe looked at the card in his hand. I'll return the card to you. I really don't need so much money. Also, what if I develop the habit of spending extravagantly and spend more of your money in the future? What if I have no money to spend after we break up? Looking at Toru Watanabe's serious expression, Miki Kujo smiled contemptuously. You can only spend as much as I ask you to. Don't think too much about what to do after we break up. You won't have to think about money when the time comes. Don't have to think about money? You must mean that the breakup fee will be a lot, right? Take a guess. Under the lush green oak tree, Miki Kujo revealed a devilish smile. The next day, Miki Kujo took a long leave again. Just like in April, she disappeared from Kanagawa High School. Somewhere in the world, she used her extraordinary IQ to deal with things that most high school students couldn't even imagine in their lifetime. This was also the last day of his activities to get back together with Yoshimi Tamamo. Toru Watanabe gave up. With Miki Kujo's desire for control, she would definitely send someone to monitor him. For himself, and for the innocent Yoshimi Tamamo's safety, giving up was the right choice. You only have one life. No matter if it's his or someone else's, it should be cherished. Like a protagonist in a hot-blooded manga, rushing forward without caring about anything, was not something that Toru Watanabe, who was always ranked third in school and first in liberal arts, would do. Time seemed to return to the time before the water of imperial tea incident, when Toru Watanabe resumed his peaceful high school life. Other than being teased about his girlfriend by his classmates and being ignored by Yoshimi Tamamo in the hallway, his biggest worry was how to complete the mission that cost him 1 million yen every month. Just like that, it was Friday. It was another day to go to the activity classroom. Watanabe, do you want to go to the arcade after the activity? After the last class, Keisuke Saito invited him as he was packing his bag. Okay. Right, do you two want to go swimming with me? Swimming? In the gym. Just treat it as playing. Do you want to sign up for a membership? Osamu Kunai asked. No, there's a one-time membership. Okay, then we'll go swimming after the arcade, and then we'll have dinner together. Going out to play on a Friday night was a daily routine for most high school students. Toru Watanabe, who never slacked off, was no exception. Everyone was playing when they were playing, but at the same time, they were good at studying, and those who were good at studying but not playing. Which was smarter? Of course, it was the latter. Toru Watanabe believed that he was undoubtedly the smartest of the smartest. Toru Watanabe grabbed his bag and left the classroom. He walked towards the club building. The windows in the hallway were covered with water droplets. The plum rain that covered Tokyo from Okinawa was expected to last until July. He opened the door to the activity classroom. This is... Toru Watanabe looked at the unfamiliar girl sitting in front of the beach table. A new member? The girl stood up and bowed slightly. Hello, Watanabe-san. I'm Aoi Ichiki from Year 1 Class 3. I have something to ask of the Human Observation Department. There was actually someone who believed in the flyer that said, begging for children with a large sum of money? Oh. Toru Watanabe nodded. Hello. After greeting her, he walked to the beach table and sat down. As he was about to put on his headphones to practice his Spanish listening, he noticed that there was no tea in front of Aoi Ichiki. He thought for a moment. After all, she was a guest, so he got up and walked to Miki Kujo's tea cabinet. Is black tea okay? Ah. Yes, thank you. Aoi Ichiki quickly replied. Toru Watanabe boiled water and poured a cup for himself and the other two. However, Rin Kiyono and Aoi Ichiki used disposable cups. He reckoned that he would be scolded for letting others drink Miki Kujo's black tea. If he used her cup for others, she would probably come back. Rin Kiyono looked at the white paper cup with hesitation. Toru Watanabe held the teacup and looked at her through the mist. He lowered his head and took a sip. Miki is also a member of the Human Observation Department. Rin Kiyono nodded with a smile that was almost invisible to the naked eye. She picked up the paper cup and took a sip. Then, Itsuki-san, let's continue the topic from before. Ah, okay. Aoi Ichiki recovered from the overflowing aroma of the tea. Sorry, where were we? Experience. Oh, I went to the same school as him since elementary school. Of course, it was the same in middle school. I came to Kamigawa for him. Elementary school? Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono. Rin Kiyono also seemed to have the same feeling. The two of them probably thought of the same thing. Itsuki had liked this person since elementary school, and had liked him until now. Rin Kiyono was a little shy because it was the first time she had a tacit understanding with someone else, so she glared at him. Toru Watanabe was puzzled. Rin Kiyono put her fist on her lips and coughed. Itsuki-san, can you tell me why you like him? What are his advantages? Aoi Ichiki immediately replied, he's very good-looking. Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono looked at her motionlessly. He's really good-looking, Aoi Ichiki emphasized. Is he as good-looking as me? Toru Watanabe asked curiously. He had never seen a man who was more handsome than him, not in the past, and certainly not in the future. Didn't she see that even Kujo-san was convinced by his looks? Aoi Ichiki's reaction was out of Toru Watanabe's expectations. She was very puzzled as she asked Toru Watanabe such a question. Please keep quiet, Watanabe-san. Rin Kiyono said expressionlessly. Toru Watanabe shrugged. He didn't care about the answer, as long as it was impossible for him to be more handsome than him. Rin Kiyono looked at Aoi Ichiki. Are there any other advantages? There was no one more beautiful than her, but she still couldn't make Toru Watanabe like her. So, appearance wasn't the main point. Good musical instrument. Talents? Rin Kiyono muttered to herself. Although she wasn't proficient in all her talents, she was good at everything that normal people could say. She didn't have a chance to show it. Usually, only Toru Watanabe saw her knowledgeable side. This could be used as a reference. Rin Kiyono nodded. Anything else? Also, no friends. Ah. Rin Kiyono looked at the surprised Toru Watanabe and asked Aoi Ichiki, what's so attractive about having no friends? If he doesn't have any friends, it means that he doesn't play with other girls, in that case. Aoi Ichiki's voice was getting smaller and smaller, but the other two understood what she meant. Rin Kiyono didn't think that she could make Toru Watanabe like her because she didn't have any friends. Instead, it was the only way for him to make fun of her. Anything else? Aha. Aoi Ichiki frowned. I can't remember. What's the most important point? For example, without this, you won't like him. Aoi Ichiki racked her brain and finally said, looks. He's too good-looking. Rin Kiyono sighed helplessly. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? Aoi Ichiki asked Toru Watanabe. Before Toru Watanabe could speak, Rin Kiyono said, I don't think looks are the main point. If you only look at the appearance and not the behavior, you won't be able to see the essence of a man. Of course, this is just the difference between me and Yumiki-san. She further explained, a man must first have an extraordinary IQ, be very hardworking, and have good talent. For example, the liar sitting there with a face full of, aren't you talking about me? Even I have to admit that he's a little handsome. The limit of human appearance is just a little bit handsome? Your requirements are really high. Toru Watanabe ridiculed. Rin Kiyono showed a helpless expression, like Toru Watanabe helping a child in the village with his homework. Watanabe-san, are your ears only able to understand Spanish now? I said that when I judge a person's handsome, it's based on his behavior, right? Toru Watanabe put his hand next to his ear and said in broken Spanish, ¿Qué dices? No lo entiendo. What did you say? I don't understand. Rin Kiyono turned her face, her shoulders shook twice, and there was a very light laughter. But when she turned her head again, her cold and beautiful little face had changed into an indifferent expression like she was looking at a kindergarten child. Aoi Ichiki looked back and forth between the two and said with envy, if my relationship with my san was as close as Kiyono-san and Watanabe-san, then my confession would definitely be successful. Close. Ichiki-san, please pay attention to your words. Rin Kiyono stared at her with a cold expression. Wait. Toru Watanabe said, I wasn't talking about anything. Mai-san? Ah, sorry that. Actually, I like third-year Myasahi-san, so I should have used her. But, Aoi Ichiki said awkwardly, I subconsciously thought of Mai-san as him. Do women like women? Rin Kiyono rubbed her forehead with a headache. Was there any meaning to it? Myasahi-san? Yes. Aoi Ichiki answered subconsciously. She likes women? Toru Watanabe stared at Aoi Ichiki. I'm not sure about that, but Mai-san said that she likes to be with girls more. System, are you there? If you're alive, can you come out and let me beat you to death? Aoi Ichiki looked at Toru Watanabe's face that had been reduced to 8 points due to his distortion and asked, Watanabe-san, do you hate gays? No, no, no. Toru Watanabe hurriedly waved his hands. It's my own fault, it has nothing to do with you or gays. I support all true love, especially Yuri love, especially love between cute girls. For example, if Kiyono-san and Miki-san. Before he could finish, Rin Kiyono's sharp gaze landed on him. Although there were many boys in Kanagawa High School who were excited by her cold gaze, it was only a small portion of them. Toru Watanabe was obviously not one of them. He only felt that the temperature in the club classroom had dropped. Rin Kiyono retracted her freezing ray, and said to Aoi Ichiki, who was at a loss, Since my Natsuki likes girls, then it's easy to deal with. Is there a way? Aoi Ichiki asked in surprise. Although it can't be used as a reference, I'll just ask. Watanabe-san, as the only male here, what kind of girls do you like? Rin Kiyono asked. Miki Kujo. Rin Kiyono laughed without holding back, but didn't expose him. She said to Aoi Ichiki, I don't know what kind of girls my Natsuki likes, but to be safe, you can learn from me. There's no one who doesn't like me, except for this liar beside me who's full of lies. Kiyono-san? That you? Aoi Ichiki made a difficult expression. Faced with Rin Kiyono's puzzled expression, Aoi Ichiki looked at Toru Watanabe. Hey, you're just leaving me to deal with bad luck? Do you think Rin Kiyono will let me off the hook? Rin Kiyono's legs were closed without any gaps, and her back was straight. She stared at Toru Watanabe. I hate it when people lie, so if you have any opinions, just say it. You won't be angry? Of course not. If that's the case, then I won't hold back. First of all, your chest is as flat as the Kanto Plain. Second of all, you don't know how to joke, and you don't like people to joke around with you. Third of all, you have very high expectations of others. Third of all, you'll definitely expose the lies that others tell you, whether they mean well or not. In short, Kingo-san, other than your natural beauty and intelligence, you're completely useless, and you can't be a typical popular girl. From next week onwards, members of the Human Observation Department, you, Toru Watanabe-san, must go to the activity room every day. Didn't you say you weren't angry? I'm not angry, Watanabe-san, I'm just being difficult. Rin Kiyono's expression was kind, but there was no warmth in her smile. Toru Watanabe was speechless. Chapter 59. Kiyono-san, are you joking? Toru Watanabe asked again in disbelief. I never joke, Rin Kiyono said emotionlessly. Forget it, I'll be studying wherever I go. Now that he thought about it, when he came to the Human Observation Department to study, apart from the air conditioning and the various fruits, juices, and cold drinks in the fridge, which Miki Kujo still replenished every day after she left, there was also Rin Kiyono, who was a Wikipedia expert who would go to any place he didn't know. Surprisingly, it was a good place. Yes, bravely accepting the unsatisfactory reality and finding advantages in it was also one of the great guarantees that Toru Watanabe's future was destined to be. Actually, without Miki Kujo and without a job, Toru Watanabe felt that studying in the activity classroom was nothing. Compared to this, he was more concerned about another matter. Iki-san, are you sure that Senior Masahi really likes girls? She prefers to be with girls, but that doesn't mean that she's a girl. Rin Kiyono also looked at Aoi Ichiki and waited for her answer. Aoi Ichiki hesitated. Thinking about it carefully, it seems that I'm not sure. A few days ago, during the training break, Senior Mai mentioned a man. Can you repeat what she said? Rin Kiyono asked. At that time, everyone was talking about a TV series, and they talked about their favorite male idol. In the end, it seemed like Senior Asako Hanada was a second-year student. She asked Senior Mai if there was a boy she thought was handsome. Aoi Ichiki recalled the scene at that time and felt jealous. She said somewhat angrily. Senior Mai said, "It's the boy who walked past the corridor that day." Then Senior Asako Hanada said, "Eh?" in surprise. Senior Mai then said, "That boy's occasional smile is irresistible." Was Mai Asahi in that group? At that time, Toru Watanabe was in a hurry to get food for Miki Kujo in the activity classroom. He was also troubled by the great cause of the Battle of the Four Northern Islands, so he did not pay much attention to his surroundings. The only face he could recall now was Asako Hanada's blushing face. While Toru Watanabe was still reminiscing, Aoi Ichiki's rage had already reached a high point. "If I find out who this boy is, I won't let him off. What are you going to do to him?" Toru Watanabe pretended to be curious and asked. Aoi Ichiki had only said this because she hadn't thought about it carefully. Throw away his indoor shoes? I see. Isn't it too serious? Or should I write a warning letter first? It's not serious, it's not serious. This level is just right. But I don't recommend using a pink envelope. If she used a pink envelope, he would mistake it for a love letter. In the end, it would be disposed of without even looking at it. What color should I use for a curse letter? Black. You too. Rin Kiyono rubbed her temples as if she had a headache. Sorry. Aoi Ichiki clasped her hands together and apologized. Toru Watanabe had an indifferent expression. Miki Kujo, san, come and see, this is the correct way to deal with school violence. Your actions of evaporating people are 1000% wrong. Rin Kiyono glanced at Toru Watanabe. She already guessed who Aoi Ichiki was referring to when she said that her smile was irresistible. So you're saying that there's a possibility of her liking men? She lowered her head and revealed a thoughtful expression. I think it's better to confirm if Senpai really likes women. If she doesn't, acting rashly will only make her feel disgusted. What do you think, Yitsuki-san? That's the best. But, what should I do specifically? Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe pointed at his chest. Kiyono-san, you're not going to make me ask her, are you? Rin Kiyono rubbed her chin. The simplest method I can think of is to have a boy confess. If it fails, we can take the opportunity to ask her why. That way, we'll know if she really likes women. No. Before Toru Watanabe could say anything, Aoi Ichiki waved her hands and refused. What's the reason? Rin Kiyono asked. That. Aoi Ichiki stole a glance at Toru Watanabe. Watanabe-san already has a girlfriend. Aha. Toru Watanabe nodded in agreement. I can't do anything to betray Miki. He didn't dare. I see. Sorry, I didn't take their relationship seriously. Rin Kiyono nodded. Then I'll confess. Ha. Toru Watanabe was so surprised that his mouth opened slightly. Rin Kiyono smiled at Toru Watanabe. You don't think that I'm the kind of person who only lets other people do it and then backs down when it's my turn, do you? Toru Watanabe couldn't help but look at her with admiration. Sure enough, apart from him, Rin Kiyono would also be amazing in the future. Moreover, For a girl to confess to another girl for something she wanted to do, this was already beyond the concept of being amazing. Toru Watanabe knew that he would never confess to a man. Kiyono-san, I feel like you're glowing. It's because Watanabe-san, you're too dark. I wanted to say that I'd be happy to be friends with you. No need, thank you. Rin Kiyono rejected him without even thinking. But, you don't lie, right? Watanabe-san, you're number one in the liberal arts, but the only thing in your head to confess is I swear to Kanagawa High School, to Shitani Station, and to everyone that I like you? At times like this, you can just ask a different question, like, do you like me? Or, are you willing to go out with me? So that's why, Aoyachiki quietly interrupted their conversation. I don't think it's possible. What's the reason? Rin Kiyono always maintained a humble attitude towards other people's objections. Kiyono-san, you're very beautiful. I'm afraid that Senior Mai might really like girls and accept your confession. In the eyes of the Appearance Association, was everyone in the Appearance Association? My endless charm is indeed an unstable factor. Rin Kiyono crossed her arms and rested her chin on her right hand. She seriously considered what she should do if such a situation really happened. Wait a moment. Toru Watanabe was unhappy. Itsuki-san, why didn't you say that you were worried that I was too handsome and that Senior would accept me tomorrow? That's also possible. In any case, Kiyono-san and Watanabe-san are both out of the question. Then we'll have to think of something else. Rin Kiyono fell into a long period of contemplation as she spoke. She didn't say anything, so the activity classroom quieted down. The pitter-patter of rain outside the window also returned to their ears. Toru Watanabe looked out the window at Shitani Station, which was covered in June's plum rain. For some reason, he suddenly recalled the conversation he had with his parents a few days ago. You did very well this time, but don't tire yourself out. Go out with your friends more often. Clothes won't dry in the rain. Buy a few more. I'll give you some money. There's nothing going on at home recently. We're just watering the rice fields. Your dad bought a few ducks and raised them in the paddy field. He said that you can eat them when you come back during the summer break. They talked about very common topics, but Toru Watanabe regretted that he didn't go back on his 3 consecutive days of break. He should have gone back to take a look. We can only observe them face to face. Toru Watanabe came back to his senses and looked at Rin Kiyono, who suddenly spoke. Observe? Aoyachiki, who had almost finished drinking her black tea, was puzzled. Yeah. Rin Kiyono raised her head. Whether a person likes a boy or a girl, there will be subtle differences when interacting with each other. Itsuki-san. Yes. Can I trouble you to ask Senior Mai out tomorrow? At that time, Watanabe-san and I will travel with you as your friends. Wait a moment. Toru Watanabe raised his hand. Why do I have to participate? Wouldn't it be better if Imu classmate invited her real male friends? The last time he went out with Yoshimi Tamamo, he was warned by Miki Kujo. This time, going out with 3 girls. Did he feel that the daily routine was too uncomfortable, so he insisted on entering the line of being hunted down by the corporations? Rin Kiyono revealed an expression of disdain for Toru Watanabe for going to the arcade with his friends, but there was nothing he could do about it. She sighed. Apart from me, there are very few girls in high school who don't care about appearance. If you randomly find a boy, do you think that Senior Mai will waver between the infinitely charming me and him? Among all the boys in Kanagawa High School, you're the only one who's barely close to my standards. Barely close. HM? Rin Kiyono tilted her head. She was puzzled by Toru Watanabe's question. You. Forget it. Indeed, you're barely close, but you're only 9 points, while I'm close to 10 points. Although I'm only 9 points when I'm not smiling. Toru Watanabe finished ridiculing in his mind and said, Thank you for acknowledging my charm, but I still refuse. Why? I have a girlfriend, and she's super jealous. I can't go out with girls. You don't need to worry about that. I'll vouch for you. I'll let Kujo-san know that you're doing this because of club activities, and not because you want to hook up with other girls. Aren't you enemies? We're enemies, but that doesn't affect my credibility. Do you think I'm a liar who's full of lies like you? Toru Watanabe knew that she was hinting that none of his confessions to Miki Kujo were true. If something happens, you'll take responsibility for me, and I'll be fine. Of course, I'll take responsibility for you. Toru Watanabe felt that this sentence was a little weird. But forget it. As long as he was careful, and with the lie detector machine, he would keep a distance from them. Miki Kujo should understand, right? Moreover, according to what Toru Watanabe learned from books, showing that he was popular was also a way to make rich women, rich young ladies, love, possessiveness, and satisfaction. He could try it. But, I'm going to bring Osamu Kunai and Keisuke Saito with me. They're my classmates, the two who wanted to join the Human Observation Department. Rin Kiyono chuckled, up to you. Of course, she wasn't laughing at Osamu Kunai and Keisuke Saito. They weren't worthy of her ridicule. She was laughing at Toru Watanabe's cowardice. What's with that expression? Let me explain. This isn't cowardice, nor is it fear. It's steadiness. Steadiness, do you understand? The definition of being a coward varies from person to person. If you say so, then so be it. Rin Kiyono brushed off Toru Watanabe and looked back at Aoi Ichiki. Can you do it, Ichiki? Ask my Asami out to play. Aoi Ichiki was hesitant. Ichiki, since you've come to the Human Observation Department, you should be prepared. Aoi Ichiki remembered that Masahi was about to graduate. If she couldn't convey her feelings before the end of the summer, she wouldn't have another chance. She put on a look of desperation. I'll do my best. Yes, I'll leave it to you. No, I'm the one who's troubling you. Aoi Ichiki quickly waved her hand. All right, let's add each other's line so that we can contact each other. Line. Rin Kiyono shook her head. I don't have one. Is it so unbelievable that you don't have a line? Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe as if she was looking for the same kind of person. Although Toru Watanabe really wanted to mock and ridicule her, lying wouldn't work. That's not it. He honestly said, before I came to Tokyo, I had to rely on landlines to contact my friends in the village. I didn't even have a cell phone, let alone a line. Rin Kiyono nodded and looked at Aoi Ichiki with a, that's it, it's not something to be surprised about, expression. Aoi Ichiki didn't know what to say for a moment. Were these two people still living in the Showa era? Looking at her expression, Rin Kiyono thought for a while and suggested, I'll download it and use it until I help you complete your request. Thank you, Kiyono. After that, Aoi Ichiki taught Rin Kiyono how to install Line on her cell phone and register an account at the same time. Kiyono-san, this is an ID, not your real name. I saw that in your account, everyone is using their real name. That's a note I added myself. If that's the case, why didn't you use your real name from the start? We all know each other. Sometimes I add people I don't know. Before I confirm that we can be friends, it's more convenient to chat with an ID. I won't do something as frivolous as adding people I don't know. Besides, I'll only use this app for a while, so I'll just use my real name. That's it. Also, no matter how I look at it, there's no difference between Line and email. Why would you download this? Because it's more convenient, and you can share a chat channel with many people. The interface is also more fashionable. Also, Kiyono-san, look, there's a lot of cute emojis. So that's the case. Wait a moment, can I take a look at the moving dolphin picture again? Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono, who was completely immersed in the app. He felt like he was looking at his mother, who went from being ostracized to being addicted. However, at that time the target was Amazon. From the middle-aged women in the village, to Rin Kiyono, who was a high school girl with no friends. The internet is a scary thing. She might even be more charming than him. After creating the chat group, Aoi Ichiki said that she would contact him at night and left the human observation department. Toru Watanabe stayed in the classroom until the end of the day, and then he also left. It was still raining heavily outside. On the way to the arcade with Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito, Toru Watanabe told him about the possibility of going out together tomorrow. Watanabe, you'll always be humanity's best friend. The day has finally come. Long live the fellowship. The two of them didn't listen to him at all. But it didn't matter. As a return gift, you'll treat me today. Kunai, you treat me to a game. Saito, you treat me to a meal. No problem. Leave it to us. Seeing how happy the two of them were, Toru Watanabe smiled. When he was listening to the English broadcast at night, the host mentioned that he went on a trip for a period of time. Because it was a company mission, he could spend as much money as he wanted. He shouldn't let others treat him. He still had a mission that required him to spend 1,000,000 yen every month. Chapter 60. It was clearly a Saturday, but the gathering time was at 7:00. Toru Watanabe felt that there was a reason why Masahi didn't have any friends. Although he thought so, it wasn't a problem for him, because every morning at 6:00, he was already running on Shinjuku Avenue. The gathering place was at the Shinjuku Station South entrance. After crossing the road there, he could take the bus to today's destination, Fujikyu Theme Park. When Toru Watanabe walked out of the ticket gate, there was still 5 minutes before 7:00, but everyone else had already arrived. The first person he saw was Rin Kiyono, who was listening attentively to Aoi Ichiki. She was wearing a Western-style short-sleeved shirt and a pair of high-waisted jeans. He had to admit that her body proportions were really perfect, and her face was so beautiful that people couldn't take their eyes off her. Even Aoi Ichiki, who was standing next to her, didn't have any sense of existence. On the other side was Asako Hanada, who was wearing a white sleeveless dress, and a tall girl. Long hair that reached her waist, clear and indifferent black eyes, fair skin, slender figure, and medium-sized breasts. She gave people a feeling that everything was perfect. This should be Masahi. Just from her appearance, she was indeed a rare beauty. Aoi Ichiki was attracted to her appearance, and it wasn't unreasonable for her to like her since elementary school. According to Toru Watanabe's evaluation, she was probably around 8 points. Watanabe, you're so slow. Fine, fine, please eat breakfast. As they spoke, Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito walked over. The two of them rushed over early, but when they saw the 4 outstanding-looking girls, they didn't even dare to greet them. They only relaxed when Toru Watanabe arrived. There's still 5 minutes before 7:00, right? But forget it, I'll treat you guys. Toru Watanabe walked over. Keisuke Saito wore a pink shirt and tie, while Osamu Kanai wore a very cool jacket. The two of them were dressed very formally. Toru Watanabe wasn't any better. Of course, he didn't have the intention to dress up, but his casual clothes were chosen by Miki Kujo. In the eyes of the others, he was a real fashionable handsome guy. In addition, his body was getting better and better, and he was reading more and more books. His back was straight. He looked full of confidence. When he came out of the south entrance, almost all the women around him subconsciously looked over. When they saw him walk on the road, they would definitely be a handsome guy in their next lives. Toru Watanabe greeted the others. Good morning. Chin-Yi Rin nodded at him and replied softly, Good morning. S's mornings as a student's Watanabe-san, good morning, you look very handsome today. Thank you. You're also very cute. After the humble conversation with Aoi Ichiki ended, Toru Watanabe looked at the other two girls. Hanada-senpai, Asaka-senpai, good morning. Masahi stared at him motionlessly and nodded without any extra emotion. In contrast to her, the petite and cute Asako Hanada was very shy. She even hid half of her body behind the tall Masahi. Kun Watanabe, hello. Kuan Watanabe? Ah, that, because it's outside of school, so. Looking at Asako Hanada's shy face that looked like she was about to faint from heat stroke, Toru Watanabe hurriedly said that she could call him whatever she wanted. After that, Toru Watanabe treated Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito to breakfast, bread and rice balls. He did not ask the four girls if they had eaten breakfast, because it was obvious that spending money on women was forbidden in Kujio Miyoshi's world. At 7:15, the seven of them got on the bus to Fujikyu Theme Park. Because there was an extra person, Toru Watanabe took the initiative to sit with an unfamiliar man who was sleeping as soon as he got on the bus. Across the aisle was Rin Kiyono, and next to Rin Kiyono was Aoya Chiki. Just as Toru Watanabe took out his phone to listen to English songs for a while, he received a message from line. Keisuke Saito. Is that cute girl Asako Hanada? Osamu Kanai. Yes. Isn't she cute? Keisuke Saito. Yes, she is. She's so cute that I don't think you have a chance. Osamu Kanai. Don't look down on me. If Watanabe can win the heart of the Kujo family's eldest daughter, why can't I? Osamu Kanai. Okay, I admit that I don't dare to pursue her. I don't think I'm good enough for her. Keisuke Saito. Aoya Chiki suits you. She's in the same grade, and she's a little cute too. Osamu Kanai. I think she's good too. She's easy too. She can be the perfect first love. Osamu Kanai. Watanabe, think of a way to take Rin Kiyono away later and create an opportunity for me. Osamu Kanai. Saito, you're responsible for helping me think of a topic when I can't talk anymore. Keisuke Saito. No problem. Toru Watanabe. Osamu Kanai. A barbecue meal. After replying with a no problem, Toru Watanabe felt a headache coming on. Although he sympathized with Osamu Kanai and wanted to tell him the real purpose of today's outing, it wasn't his place to reveal his client's private matters. He could only wrong him. At most, he'll treat him to a barbecue meal. Toru Watanabe silently mourned for him. The moment of silence was interrupted by a message in the chat group called Aoya Chiki's Think Tank. Aoya Chiki. I'll have to trouble the two of you today, greater than over equal to. Toru Watanabe. Why isn't it Tsuki classmate sitting with Minato senpai? Aoya Chiki. Well, Aoya Chiki. Actually, I only succeeded in asking my senpai out because of Asako Hanada. Aoya Chiki. Toru Watanabe. Didn't you say that Minato senpai doesn't have any friends? Aoya Chiki. They're close, but they're not friends. Hanada senpai had to persuade my senpai for a long time to ask her out. Toru Watanabe. I see, I understand, just like me and Rin Kiyono. Chin-Yi Rin glared at her from across the aisle. Then, she quickly typed on her phone with her slender fingers. Rin Kiyono. It's true that I don't have any friends, and I admit that Watanabe classmate is my closest friend, but we're barely acquaintances. No matter how much you beg me, I won't agree to go to the amusement park with you. If an amusement park can't do it, then an aquarium can. When Toru Watanabe looked over, he saw Seino Rin staring at his phone screen with a serious expression. Just when Toru Watanabe thought that she had started reading her ebook, another message popped up in the group. It was an angry dolphin emoji with puffed up cheeks. Seeing Rin Kiyono's involuntary smile, Toru Watanabe suspected that she just wanted to try sending dolphin emojis. Aoya Chiki. Anyway, please find out my senpai's sexual orientation. Then there was a geisha wearing a kimono with a snow-white face, accompanied by a picture of, please. Rin Kiyono. Itsuki classmate, please think of a way to distract Hanada senpai so that Watanabe classmate and I can be alone with her. I'll carefully observe her expression. Also, please observe her carefully together. After all, I can see through other people's lies, and I've studied facial expressions and movements, but I don't have any practical experience in love. Ichiki, okay. Toru Watanabe. Can't you read a long paragraph separately? You're making me dizzy. Rin Kiyono. Do you need me to get you a pair of reading glasses, Toru Watanabe classmate? Toru Watanabe, to be honest, tomorrow is my birthday. You can buy me a pair. After sending the message, Toru Watanabe raised his head and looked at Rin Kiyono across the aisle. As expected, her face was cold. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.